Hello and welcome. Thank you, Marcelo, for joining me tonight for this casual and informal hangout. Notice the
Thank
change in the channel, then it means that I'm not only discussing Star Trek, I want to veer off into other things because there's more stuff out there that I'm dying to talk about. How are you tonight, Marcelo?
I'm good. Thank you for having me back. It's great to be back on Boatrek.
Sure, okay.
Come
It's
on. I like the
it's
channel.
boat wreck like
Sorry.
if a boat sank got wrecked. No, I'm joking. I don't care.
Oh.
But
Yes.
the, that's how I intended to say it. And then on the channel, when I used to do stuff with Fathery for the first time, out like doing lives,
Uh-huh.
I said Trek because I wanted it to be like this needs to be associated with Trek. And I'm like so scared to talk about other things, afraid that I might lose people. But like
Mm-hmm.
people come and go from this channel like all the time anyway.
Right.
And I have 76 great subscribers. Thank you very much. But
Mhm.
I think it's time to start veering off and talking about shows like House of the Dragon. And
Yeah.
anybody listening right now, we're gonna get into House of the Dragon season 1, episode 1. Spoilers.
Hmm.
Uh, I thought it was pretty good. The sex and the violence was the least interesting part. I like the main characters. They set them up. I don't know everybody's name. I don't know anybody's name at this point. I just don't. It takes me a while. But you got the princess. She's interesting. Then you have the king who wants to choose his daughter as an heir over his brother,
He
and
has to
that's
after he
yeah.
he you know, he had to after he
He lost his son and his wife,
right
which
after
was
he lost his son.
horrific. By the way, it's
Yeah.
so my god, that scene was hard to watch.
Hmm. I actually had to because I knew it was coming because they were cutting from the games to the birth. And I actually, when like right when that great actor started screaming, I had to, pause the episode and walk around for a couple minutes because I actually got lightheaded. I felt like all the blood leaving my body, and I just got this cold chill like up and down my spine. It was not good.
That's it's a very real thing that happens to people when they see bloodletting and scenes
Yeah.
of surgery and stuff like that. I'm like that too, where I'm just like, I just feel cold and
Hmm.
weak. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, it's funny. It's like you and Chris Carr from John Campia pointed out, like
I love
they
Chris.
it could have been a lot more graphic. They were actually,
Yeah.
for what it was, they were pretty
Hmm.
tasteful about it. They didn't, they could have cut away at the moment and then not come back to it until the aftermath or something like that. But they wanted it was like a point to show the brutality of the time, and another point that it's 200 years before the Game of Thrones series, which in its sense was so brutal and medieval. And it
Right.
seems like this pilot is trying to say like even this is the medicine was even less advanced, so they're just like do it the old, like the really old fashioned way. Same thing with the brutality with the criminals, like the in your face cutting off the hands and castrating people right on the spot. It's like they're setting you up for this is a more brutal world, a slightly more primitive world than what you were
Hmm.
used to in Game of Thrones. And you know what? It might be that you might look at Game of Thrones in retrospect when this show is said and done and say, "Wow, those were better times." And when King's Landing was a little bit more tolerable,
Civilized.
civilized. I mean, they still threw their waste out the window, but whatever.
Right.
For
No,
hundreds and hundreds of years.
yeah, I think, I think speaking about the C-section scene, I think Chris Carr was right. They could have gone with it more brutal, but really that I think the point of the scene was to show the horrible position that the king was in. I mean, he didn't want to kill his wife, but on the same hand, she was going to die anyway. So like like the second that the king came in and saw his wife, I was like, she dead. Like I was just buying my time to figure out how she was going to die. Like I never thought that they were going to do what they did, but I was like, she's dead.
Yeah,
So
it's you like yeah, it would be you would be stretching the truth. It would be stretching. It would be a stretch if she came out of it.
Right.
And the baby not surviving was, I think, a predictable element just because I've kind of seen the trailers and know where the basic story is anyway.
Hmm.
But that it was still like it was sad and it was shocking.
Yeah. No, and
That being just opposed, as somebody said on that show too, the violence in the birth I thought was like a little schlocky and overblown. Like okay, it's the graphic nature of the birth plus somebody's face getting smashed in. Like it didn't. I didn't really see the point. As only to show again the brutality of the world at this time. Like
hmm
the joust that you see in Game of Thrones is not nearly as bad as this one. Like this was insanity.
hmm
Like they're showing you like these fucking people don't. Everybody's got a screw loose here. Like nobody's playing with a full deck.
No, one thing that I thought this pilot did very well is that they gave you the lay of the land and they showed you everybody's motivations. So
Yeah,
even though that you may not know where the story is going to be headed, you kind of know what everybody wants in the world. And as a person who wasn't a fan of the original Game of Thrones until later on, I appreciated that because the original Game of Thrones really took you about 4 or 5 episodes to really get your footing in the world. And I felt that this pilot did so much more in 1 hour than the original series did in like 5 episodes.
I think the earlier for me, I really love the first 4 seasons of Game of Thrones. I think it's like, and then for the rest of the series, and even into the last season, as troublesome as that is for a lot of people with time and distance and a lot of weird things going on there and twists and turns and just like okay, you're doing this now, sure. uh there are and even in the lesser seasons there are like great moments and great you I did not appreciate like the art form of CGI dragons or just practical mixed with CGI effects more so than when Game of Thrones was on the air. For as any complaint that anybody had about how it was going in the story and stuff, to production value and the level of practical and visual effects and the attention to detail that went in that show is almost unmatched. You never saw a crappy looking dragon scene. Like you never saw a fake. I can't remember, but in this show it's like it's not it's got a prequel Star Wars feel to it where it's too it's too shiny or something. There's
It's too
something
clean.
it's too clean looking.
Hmm.
It doesn't look as gritty or as photorealistic as the ones in Game of Thrones.
Yeah,
It doesn't look terrible or anything. I'm just saying.
no, yeah. I mean, what you just said, that's my main complaint about. Look, I think not to take us down a different path, but I think new Star Wars is essentially too clean. Like even the Mandalorian, when you look at it, it looks like clean. And I'm like, guys, put more dust on things. Where's the dust? Everything looks too clean. And I personally didn't notice the cleanness of the first episode of the House of the Dragon because I was so engrossed with the story that was being told. But I could definitely see somebody having a complaint like that.
Yeah, it's really only just a couple of shots of the dragon where it's like,
Right,
I'm just in the back of my mind. Game of Thrones did it better, and that's gonna
right,
be a
right.
thing. That's gonna be a thing that's happening now. Where with every episode, I'm like, hmm, Game of Thrones did it better, or it could be like, hey, House of Dragons is improving on something that was touched on, and
Yeah.
uh,
Now watch. Uh, Lord of the Rings is gonna. Lord of the Rings starts next week, and Lord of the Rings is gonna put Game of Thrones' dirty factor to shame. Watch. I could be wrong. I have no clue.
you think wait, you think
I mean,
it's gonna be
yeah.
R
There's
rated?
what? No, no, no. But I think Lord of the Rings is gonna have much more of a dirty kind of feel to it, as opposed to the House of the Dragon. Like it's just gonna feel dirty and lived in a little bit more.
Yes, Starfleet Boy. It premieres.
The second,
It premieres technically Friday, next Friday, which is the
yeah.
second. It'll be on there, I think, 6 or 7 Mountain Time. I don't know, but
Mm.
everything that's supposed to debut on Friday is always. Or
Thursday night.
wait, it might be the first then. If it's
Yeah,
coming,
it's the
if
first.
yeah, that's what I mean. I'm thinking, God damn, it's going to be on the first.
Mm-hmm.
That's nice. I can't wait. It's 2 episodes. I think they're releasing
Yep,
at the start.
2 episodes.
Damn.
Yeah,
I keep
that show,
forgetting
but
that all this goodness is coming. I don't know how good it's gonna be. I'm
yeah,
curious. I'm very curious.
that show better be fucking good because it's the most expensive show in fucking history.
Didn't it cost $1 billion altogether?
Yep,
Something like that.
something like that. So yeah, but for me, I grew up with the Lord of the Rings movies, and I watched the Lord of the Rings movies every Christmas. So Lord of the Rings has been ingrained in me as a child. So I am really really excited for that series. Um, yeah.
Uh, Starfleet Boy says I'm weak at the knees right now. I hope you're okay. I don't. No, I think he's excited for Lord of the
Yeah,
Rings.
Lord
The
of the
Rings
Rings.
of Power.
Hmm.
What's a name in Lord of the Rings? Just give me a random name. I can't remember.
Saruman, or you have
I love saying Lord of the Rings and fantasy things in like a British accent, like
Lord of the Rings,
Saruman,
Saruman,
the
or
Eye of
you have
Sauron.
mm,
Something.
Gandalf the Grey, um, Boromir, uh, stuff like
Boromir.
that. Yeah.
The Rings of
Um,
Power.
yeah, but like there's not too many TV shows that I'm really, really excited about. Like Game of Thrones. I mean, yeah, Game of Thrones really, or the House of the Dragon. I gotta stop calling it Game of Thrones.
Is it? Is it? It is called House of the Dragon or the House of the Dragon. Let me see.
Or I just keep calling it House of the Dragon. You got to correct me. I don't know if I'm right or
I
not.
don't know. I don't know. People say it different ways. The House of. No, it's just House of the Dragon. Okay.
Okay, House of the Dragon.
Some people
Yeah,
call it House of the Dragons, and I'm like, nah, that's not right.
House of the Dragon. Yeah.
Well, there is
No, like
multiple dragons, right? Obviously, there's.
yeah. There's more than one. There's like a bunch of dragons, I think. But for me, House of the Dragon really came up and surprised me. Like I was already excited for Lord. I was excited way more for Lord of the Rings than I was for House of the Dragon, and the fact that House of the Dragon surprised me in the way that it did, it just gave me something else to watch. But um, what I'm most excited for is just a little movie that not a lot of people seem to be talking about. Um, Clerks 3,
Clerks 3, yes.
maybe anybody. Um, can we get like a small
By the
golf
way,
clap?
I'm glad
Yep.
you brought that up because
Yes.
I just looked for it on YouTube today, like something about Clerks 3 because I know the premiere happened recently,
Hmm.
and I got a bunch of videos of the premiere and stuff, and
Oh,
there's a
cool.
really good interview that lasts like 20 minutes with Kevin Smith and the cast,
That's awesome.
and there were 2 clips. The first clip is no big spoilers. Somebody's in the okay, Randall's in the hospital, and
No, come on. We know what's gonna happen.
it's 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 a direct recreation of what the MD said to Kevin Smith when Kevin Smith was having his heart. Like, there's
Oh,
stuff in here
wow.
that
That's cool.
because I've heard Kevin Smith talk for long stretches of time about his experience after he filmed a comedy special.
Hmm.
It was 2018, I believe, wasn't it? I believe
Yeah.
in 2018. Correct me if I'm wrong. If I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Jesus, it's been a while. 4 fucking years. Jesus.
Yeah.
It, and he was big. He was big when he did that special. It was called Silent but Deadly, right?
Hmm. No,
And
but didn't he rename that after he had the heart attack? Because didn't he have the heart attack? Like, didn't he
Well, the
wasn't he
joke is
supposed
that
to?
he didn't even know. He didn't know he was having a heart attack.
Right. But didn't he actually first? Didn't he film the first show, which was the one that he shot for like this DVD special, and the second show was the one where, he had the heart attack. Or
As far as I know, the special Silent but Deadly, which is on HBO Max, I believe you can get it. Uh, I do know they in stand-up specials they do two. They film two. Usually they film two sets, and they
Mhm.
might use one or the other or use them together. So I'm not entirely clear if like that was the exact set where like he walked off and then he had a heart attack. But he's a pretty big there, right? Like, and he's
Mhm.
sweating a lot. And like, okay, that's Kevin Smith. He's wearing heavy clothing, and like that's he's
Yeah.
known for that, right? Like, just
Yeah.
sweat. Big guy sweats a lot,
Mhm.
and he couldn't catch his breath. And anyway, they ended up calling the paramedics, and they're like, "Sir, uh, what's your level of pain?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm feeling no pain."
The
He's like,
marijuana.
"Wow, because this is unusual because." Something about a heart attack. He's like, I had a heart attack. He's like, no, sir, you're having one right now, a massive one, and that's word for word in this scene in the movie. Amy Sedaris plays the doctor, right?
Mhm.
And in the scene, she's dressed up as a witch,
Oh wow.
and it's like awkward and it's weird, you know. I don't know.
Yeah. No. Hey,
Good evening, gentlemen.
how are you, Ruben?
I was good. I'm good. I was watching a basketball analysis video, and in the middle of it, the guy starts saying, because basketball has a lot of weird terminology and like acronyms and stuff. So
Indeed.
he starts making jokes about how many there are, and he goes, "I bet you don't know the one called ED." And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, erectile dysfunction. And he goes into a commercial for like an erectile dysfunction pill in the middle of his YouTube video, and I'm just like,
Oh my.
subscribe. That was the most amazing thing I've ever seen. I did not expect that at all.
Oh, it's like a lot of these YouTubers now. If you don't have if you don't have the ads showing up on YouTube, you'll still get the YouTubers be like,
Yeah,
and before we go to our next topic, shave your balls with Manscaped. It's like,
yeah,
fuck,
like
dude,
Angry
Jesus
Joe.
Christ.
Yeah. I have YouTube with no commercials, but and
Like,
so
you've
it
got
annoys
millions
me.
of hairless guys going around thinking they're doing something with their life. It's like, this
Yeah.
matters.
Shave your bills.
You gotta-
John Campia, right? This is like
Not
the
only
king
that,
of the
Angry-
segue.
Angry Joe does,
everybody has done the Manscaped
Yeah,
sponsorship
Angry Joe
deal.
does manscaping right now.
Oh my god, they get
Yeah.
them all, man.
Yeah.
I actually have a pop-up blogger. I haven't seen an ad on YouTube in years. It's like
Well, I pay for Google Music / YouTube Premium
right.
because so that's how I ended up with it. I only ended up with that because they gave it to me free for like 6 months. And
Oh
when
really?
when I was done, I was like, I can't go back to YouTube with commercials. Like, there's no way I could sit here. And sometimes my YouTube will log into my other YouTube account that I never use that doesn't
Uh-huh.
have the commercial thing. And all of a sudden I start seeing commercials. I'm like, what's going on? Why is this happening? Yeah, I'm like, oh, it's the wrong account. Fuck that. I survived commercials through the 70s, 80s, and 90s. My time is over. I deserve some peace and quiet in my final years.
Finally,
Yeah, yeah, I can't. I really can't watch commercials anymore. Like,
I'm not a
I
YouTuber,
can't do
Mr.
it.
Starfleet boy. I'm only a YouTuber guest.
Yeah.
we're talking about Clerks 3. You're not interested in the View Askew universe in any way, are you?
Clerks.
No.
I mean, I love Clerks 1. I love
Mhm.
Mallrats, and I like Chasing Amy.
You don't like
Does
any
Dogma
of
is Dogma in that universe? I love Dogma.
Dogma's
Yes.
View Askew, yeah. Jay and
Okay.
Silent Bob, Jay and Silent Bob
Yeah,
reboot.
no, I like most of them. I never saw Clerks 2 though. Like I didn't feel like I needed more Clerks in my life.
Clerks 2 is one of my favorite movies. It is. I swear to God, man. I never get tired of that movie. Clerks 1, same thing.
I love Clerks 1.
Like
I
that
just
whole thing
never-
about this 37 dicks thing. Like I fucking laugh every time. Like, it gets me. I forget.
How
it
many
happens.
dicks did she suck?
The funniest part is Dante, when he says to the customer, he goes, she sucked 37 dicks, and the guy goes, all at once. Oh god, Jersey
Mm.
Girl it's a hard movie to watch.
No,
Geegan
I mean,
says Jersey
you
Girl is
know,
I've
underrated.
never been able to finish that movie.
yeah, I mean,
Oh, it's
I mean,
hard. It's hard.
yeah, I
It's
mean,
sentimental tripe.
yeah,
I don't know
I mean,
why
don't,
any.
yeah, I mean,
Sorry,
don't kill
sorry.
me.
Go ahead.
No, it's okay. Don't kill me. But I actually like Jersey Girl. But my favorite Kevin Smith film is Chasing Amy because I first discovered. I mean, PG, I think you know this. I first discovered Kevin Smith's genius in screenplay writing class. So I watched Clerks 2, and Chasing Amy in screenplay writing class. So I have that personal connection to him where I was actually learning to write when I was watching his movies for the first time.
Yeah, he
So yeah. I mean that class didn't help me out very much, but
him and Tarantino have this talent for writing long stretches of interesting dialogue. It's like not
Mhm.
even in his like not so, Tracing Amy is great.
Mhm.
Dogma is a strange one, but it's still kind of good. It's just so it's
Dogma was my favorite movie from him, and then followed by Tusk.
Tusk, Jesus Christ.
I'm so
I
yeah,
love
I'm so
Tusk.
glad. No, I'm so
Red.
glad you
If you
said,
want to talk about underrated Kevin Smith, Red State.
Oh, Red State. Yeah, that's
That
a
is
good
so
one too.
overlooked as just a
I always
good
forget that
horror
one.
movie in general. I think. I mean, it's
Oh,
cult. It's a cult. I think Jersey Girl and Red State are two, and even Tusk. You could say.
I like
Are-
Tusk because it's the first movie to me that he became a director. He's
he
always been a great
stretched.
writer, but he really I mean, he definitely got inspired by Tarantino a lot, but
Mhm.
he pushed himself as a director more in that movie than I've seen him do in other movies. As far as the
He
visuals and the
stretched a little
camera
bit.
movement and all that stuff.
Mhm.
You know, the writing's always there. He's always a good writer, even if the movie sucks.
Yeah.
Like Jersey Girl.
Oh, come on, you gotta. You know what? You know what?
I was
I should
gonna
do.
say-
I've never finished it. I've never finished it, to be fair, so I can't say. I can't
I
say
should
it
do.
sucks.
I should do a stream for Jersey Girl and invite the two of you and just watch you
Jersey
like
Girl watch party.
freak out.
Jersey Girl is. It's. Just, I like seeing George Carlin. I like. I can say that like
Mm-hmm.
George Carlin in a movie, like like a sentimental kind of movie.
Wait,
too.
hold on. I think I'm thinking of the wrong
There's
movie.
that weird conversation he has with Will Smith. Will Smith
Yeah.
talks about like his junk.
Who's in Jersey
What
Girl?
what's going on here?
Liv Tyler, Ben Affleck,
Jennifer Lopez.
Jennifer Lopez.
Wait, then who's in Geely?
Jennifer Lopez.
Jennifer Lopez.
Ben Affleck.
Okay, I think I'm confusing Geely or whatever with
Oh my god.
Jersey Girl.
You know what's funny? Jersey Girl and Geely were around the same time,
Right.
And people would often confuse them, rightfully so, because they were both terrible fucking movies. But Jersey Girl is a masterpiece compared to Geely. Fuck. Geely
Yeah,
is so,
Geely I couldn't finish. I saw like 20 minutes of it and I was like, nah, dude,
if
what
you
the
want
fuck
to
is going
watch
on here?
some aggro alpha piece of shit dude just act like a douchebag an entire movie. I don't think I got through. I don't.
You
think
know,
I
that would
watched
be
the
a
whole
fun thing for us to do as like more content.
Like
We
watch,
we as we talk with each other, we learn that, oh, you've never seen this, I've never seen that, and we do first watches together.
Mm.
Like I've never
Mm.
seen The Big Lebowski.
What?
Yep, that's my movie that when people are like, whoa, what movie have you not seen that everyone's seen? I'm like, oh, Big Lebowski, I've never seen it.
Okay.
I've never seen
Okay,
The
we need
Usual
to fix that.
Suspects
Oh,
Oh my god.
I love Usual Suspects.
because the ending was it's
Oh.
the same reason I
It was
didn't watch
spoiled?
Invasion of the Body Snatchers, the
Oh.
1978 version, for years. Because the image of Donald Sutherland screaming with his eyes wide open is the big twist at the end, right?
That one,
Yeah.
that shit.
So they would always give away like the twist of that movie. I'm like, I don't want to watch it now, but I did watch it and I did love it. I fucking love seeing Leonard Nimoy pop up, man. You know what's great about that movie? It's like seriously, Invasion of the 1978 version of Invasion of the Body. It takes itself so seriously.
Mhm.
It's so refreshing to watch these rational like intelligent adults trying to figure out what the fuck is going on, and it all gets to a point where they're at a party and some shit's going down at the party. You know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
And the woman's like, "That's not my husband." And Leonard Nimoy is taking Jeff Goldblum's there too, and Leonard Nimoy is trying to calm this person down, like, you know, and do his like psycho mumbo jumbo, and it's just like, I love it. I haven't seen it too much. I've watched it like twice in my life because I've only the first time I saw it
Yeah,
was
it's been
like
a
a few
long
years
while
ago.
since I watched it.
But man, what an interesting weird movie. There's the part where the dog has a human face. Remember that part? Some weird dog runs up and he has a human face. And it's fucked up. And you're like, why is this happening? And what is this in the movie? And where's this coming from? It just happens.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? Stand by, folks. Did you like House of the Dragon, Ruben?
Yeah, it was cool. It's good enough.
Dog from Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
We talked about our first spill, didn't we? I think I remember that. I don't know.
What, on here?
No, didn't I DM you about it? I think I did.
I did. Yeah, maybe.
I did. Yeah.
Talked to a few people about it in DMs. Yeah, no, it was. I mean, it was good. I don't think it was outstanding. Like for first episode, it really needed a little bit more punch, in my opinion. But it was good enough, you know.
It needed more cowbell.
More cowbell. Yeah.
More cowbell, folks. I want to show you the dog with the human face from Invasion of the Body Snatchers, because it gave me a little fright the first time I saw it. I'm like, what was that? Did I just see that? It makes no sense.
My favorite thing was Matt Smith. I really liked Matt Smith. Crazy
yeah.
Matt Smith was. I was into that.
He's scary. He's a scary bully.
Yeah.
You never know when he's gonna. He's like he's the new Joffrey.
No, I don't think he's gonna be Joffrey at all.
He's Joffrey with muscles and balls.
And a rope penis.
Yeah, rope.
A what?
A rope
A
penis.
rope penis.
What does that mean?
Because remember, he couldn't get it. He couldn't get it going. He was pushing rope.
Pushing rope. That's funny. This is the dog.
Yeah.
Oh fuck!
I'm gonna show the dog. Why isn't the dog? But there it is.
Did I watch this week? I'm halfway through
You see this
Sandman.
freak show? Look at this freak show.
Hold
All right.
on, I'm gonna.
Wow.
Shit, being attacked.
Let's since we're still talking about House of the Dragon, I'll put up the spoilers. We talked about like the graphic nature of the show. It's kind of like in your face violence.
C-section.
Yeah, well, it's Game of Thrones, so I expected it to be very, gritty like Game of Thrones.
200 years before, so it has to kind of be more brutal in a way. The sex stuff is just like, I'm sorry, but it always looks fake as fuck. Especially more so nowadays. Remember the early days of Game of Thrones when they would go in the brothels? Some of that shit looked like they hired actual porn people to do stuff. Like it was pretty.
Right, it was
like
pushing the boundary. Yeah,
it was pushing the boundaries of like the head movements and stuff. In some stuff now, I don't know. I think on set it might be like there might be a sensitivity issue or like a trust issue, but you see sex acts going on in the background that are clearly not. They're like Stanley Kubrick, Eyes Wide Shut level, fake looking kind of stuff going on. Where I couldn't believe. You know what's funny about that movie? Just a little sidetrack. They made Stanley Kubrick, or I guess he had the option to get an R rating to avoid getting an NC-17. When Tom Cruise is walking through the various rooms and there's just people having sex in every single room, right? Left, right, and center. Just look. I mean, the censored version, they had like digital things covering certain things.
it, yeah.
But when you see the uncensored version, it's like, no, this is nothing nowadays. Like this is the fakest looking. Because it just looks like people miming the act everywhere, and they're not really actually doing anything. But then you get stuff like nowadays where there's a show called The She. And some of the sex in that, it's like it's quick. They don't linger on anything, but like they do these quick cuts in sex where it's like, oh, some of that stuff looks like it could be really going on. So I don't know why we get on this. Oh yeah, the sex and House of the Dragon is that type of. Yeah. Who cares?
Yeah, I don't know.
It just looks stupid,
Sex like
meaningless.
it's yeah. To me,
it's just
it's like
showing that people are in brothels all the time in these times having to fuck.
it's very rare that a sex scene adds to what's going on. It's just there for like seems most of the time it feels like it's just there for the sake of it.
You could
Right.
argue that narratively, a guy not being able to
Right. Like
maintain
see like
it
you're right.
means there's stuff in his mind, and he's something's weighing on him. I suppose.
But I'm all for showing more cock because it's only fair. We've shown enough bush and tits for all these years, so I think we need to balance things out.
My God, Game of Thrones did that kind of equally, didn't they? Like for every
What did I watch the other day? I watched Under the Skin. There's a lot of cock in that movie.
Under
Whole
the
lot of dick.
Skin.
The Scarlett Johansson.
With Scarlett Johansson. That's like an experimental kind of art house film.
Yeah, it's a weird ass
Yep.
movie, but I'm always fascinated by it because
In fact, Stranger Things was heavily influenced by it.
there's
Visually.
scenes where she talks to strangers and they have like
That's
a hidden
that's
camera.
real. That's
Yeah, yeah.
hidden camera stuff.
Yeah, you can
But
even tell by the way the camera's positioned and everything. And it's like
the
holy
rest
shit.
of the movie is
Weird.
script. It's not that's not the entire movie, but it's a very strange movie. But when she's walking in that black room
Hmm.
and she's like walking on like black water,
Right.
you look at Stranger Things. Stranger Things
Oh,
like
then, yeah.
takes. I don't know if that movie borrowed it from something else, but that seems to be the origin of a lot of like dream states people do in movies and TV shows now.
It also has that like white room kind of in the beginning,
Mhm.
Yes.
early on, and it's a really interesting movie. I find it very
You're right about that movie. It shows like fully erect.
yeah. It
penis.
shows like two dicks for like a good 5 minutes straight. Like I'm just like, do it, man. Give it to me.
It's
I
like-
deserve it.
It's like, why is everybody so afraid of it?
Yeah, man. Let them hang
Maybe
out.
if it's massive, it'd be like, okay,
like an
maybe
elephant trunk,
Maybe
you
I
know?
don't want to see that. But
Nobody wants to hide an elephant trunk. So what the
Jesus
fuck?
Christ.
I'm not saying in size. I'm saying in just kind of shape and demeanor. But no, yeah, sex and movies very rarely like there was that like orgy later on in the House of the Dragon. That
Hmm.
was just like okay, a bunch of people
Yeah.
fucking orgy, big deal. I can look this up on
And
like
you don't see
YouTube
one. You
or
don't
on
see one goddamn wiener.
Right. Mm-hmm.
yeah.
See all
that's
kinds
true.
of boobs.
Beeps.
It's funny. There's talking about how fake it looks in the background and stuff. There's like a woman going down on a guy. I'm like, I've seen better fake blowjobs in rap videos. You see some rap videos where like they're like it's not. Maybe they're really doing it. I don't fucking know. It's funny. It's yeah, it doesn't really add anything. We're talking about the sex stuff for a long time. I'm very distracted by it. Maybe the thing is we actually need more of it. We're not getting enough.
No, but if you're gonna have sex in anything, it's my view that you put it in there for a reason.
Right.
And the things in Game of Thrones are there because it's just Game of Thrones. It's not necessarily there to propel the story forward. It's just there to distract you and say, "Ooh, it's sex," but
Yeah, a
it's
little
really
shock
not.
value and
Yeah, it's
You-
it's not there for a purpose.
You know what? There's a movie called Baby Boy with
sounds
Tyrese
familiar.
and Taraji P Henson.
Oh, Tyrese, yeah. I've never seen it, but I've seen like the
And
cover.
I watched this movie with a group of friends because it's like anything with John Singleton was the director and like Boys in the Hood and like I don't know, Tyrese at one point I think was cool or something, but anyway, Snoop Dogg was in the movie, and that was kind of
he
like a
was-
big deal
Oh,
because
like
he
Day
never
Shift.
he never really been in a movie. Yeah, that's. But that was one of the earlier movies he was in. So like, yeah, let's watch this movie, Baby Boy, and it's all right. But there's a scene where him and Taraji P Henson have sex, and the way it's cut, and the way it happens, and like the dialogue set, like, I can't even repeat it. It's just like sex scene from Baby Boy. It's both very realistic but hilarious. Like she's having the loudest fucking orgasm and she's saying stuff that I will not repeat, but it's like you can't help but laugh. It's so fucking good. See that's when it's done well, where it's like we're not gonna try to titillate you as much as like I don't know, kind of like make it a joke or something.
Right, for at least push the story forward with entertainment, value.
So yeah, go ahead.
I mean, not to bring it back to Star Trek, but did you guys see the article that Matt Shackman has to depart Star Trek 4 because he's
Got
doing the
herpes.
Fantastic Four for Marvel?
Oh
Okay, that was the reaction. That was
oh boy.
I'm like turning into the Joker.
I don't know what I want him to
I
do
lost my mind.
more or less.
yeah.
I mean, I have nothing against the director. He did WandaVision, right?
Yep.
I've been saying for years that if you're ever going to see another Kelvin movie, they're going to be old as hell because that's that's about the time they're going to get around to it.
Yeah, they'll start
Yeah.
remaking. They'll remake the motion picture, then Wrath of Khan.
Right.
with
No,
them.
I mean, I said, you guys know me, but I said, you know what? Just to make the fucking movie, just give, Bob Orsi the opportunity to fucking direct the movie, have him rewrite the fucking thing, and there you go. Oh, like, I mean, I know that he's working on the series for Netflix, that series for Netflix with his lovely wife, but I haven't heard anything about it. So I'm like, if he's not doing anything, just you know give him a shot. Just to get the movie, you know, going or done with. But that's
Yeah,
just me.
it's. I would like to see these movies. I don't know. There's 4 or 5 maybe at this point that have been written. I don't know if some of them are Star Trek 4 Kelvin direct,
Mhm.
and some of them are like other things that they haven't discussed.
Right.
I would like to know like because I heard Orsi's idea was too cerebral.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah,
well,
it's Star Trek.
okay.
Hello.
For a 5-year-old.
It's too Star Trek, man. Oh man, it's giving me a headache. I don't
It's too
understand.
cerebral. Our 3rd-grade audience couldn't handle it.
I had to read 3 pages twice just to understand it. It's like fuck off, fucking stupid
Yeah,
executive.
but with that being said, as much as I want, Bob Orsi to come back to the Star Trek fold, I do think the future of Star Trek is on TV. I don't think that the future of Star Trek is on the big screen. I really don't think that.
I mean, I think most things are that, I would say.
It's hard to believe that the idea of a Tarantino movie was once viable. Like, in retrospect, it seems like insane. He'd be like,
Yeah, not right now.
so here's what I want to do. Okay. I want to do gangsters, like in the movie in the episode TOS, and he has like a weird kind of like an.
We never got our
JJ stuff where it's like I don't get it. Like he just doesn't.
We never got our glory shot of them putting on the Starfleet boots.
No, we never did.
That's what I was hoping for. We'd get like a sexy long, like 3-minute shot of, Captain Kirk putting on his boots. And he's just like, oh, look at those feet.
Oh yeah. Dun dun dun. That music would play too.
Shit.
Yeah. That walking slow motion music that they used in Kill Bill. Anyway, speaking of that, I think this Kelvin movie's not going to happen. They just lost.
No, I don't think so either.
Here's the deal. Here's how this new iteration of the Kelvin movie's played out so far. There have been several, mind you, that I would take an hour or so to go into. If father would hear, he'll tell you it all. Like, I don't know if he knows everything in so much detail, but he can tell you like, this person wrote a script, this person was supposed to direct, then this person wrote a script, and this person was supposed to direct. Then there was a room of this, and then of this. But this latest one, Matt Shackman, who was possibly going to do Fantastic Four. Now, I don't know if that's been fully confirmed. Was it confirmed?
No, it's a rumor right now. But watch when D23 comes around. I bet you they're gonna
So he
confirm
goes,
it.
if they lose the director, they've already started off on the wrong foot because they announced the movie with the cast, didn't tell the
And
cast about it.
nope.
Zoe Saldana, Chris Pine, Zachary Quinto, Simon Pegg are like, oh, this is news to us. They even had a date. For fuck's sake, they
Yep.
had a date for the movie. Didn't even tell
Mhm.
the cast.
Yeah.
What a negotiation tactic that is, man. What a
And then the
stroke of
cast was
fucking
like, "Well,
genius.
since you already announced this in it, how much are you gonna pay us for this? Because now I
Whoops.
want twice as much."
And so
Uh,
far, and anytime Pine, Simon Pegg, or anybody is interviewed about the possibility of a fourth Kelvin movie, it's always, I don't know, no script. They never have any real clue, and it's like, why are you beating this dead horse? It like for one thing, you've already got a new Kirk. You've already recast Kirk and fucking Spock. You already have your next It's like,
The
I know
next
you can probably.
generation.
I know you can do it now with the multiverse stuff in the Marvel, but I don't want everything to be multiverse everywhere. So like, it's like if you had Andrew Garfield have the Amazing Spider-Man 3 come out, and then the same year Spider-Man Homecoming comes out. I'm like, oh well, this is just a different Spider-Man in a different universe. It's like Peter Parker, Spider-Man, same guy, but two different actors going on at the same time. This is what I don't understand. You've already got your new Spock. You've already got your new Kirk, right? You're already going in a direction where you basically want to reboot the TOS, which I don't think they're going to do.
no.
They might. They
No
might.
comment.
They might. But
Yeah, I don't.
But
Going to do.
why the
They're
hell do you?
already
Why do
doing
you,
it.
I know
They're
Chris
already
Pine.
doing it.
Do you know a lot of people in the modern age, Chris Pine and Zachary Quinto are the Spock, the modern Spock,
Right.
and
Yeah.
nobody
Yeah.
has a clue about Paul
sure.
Wesley or who the guy is, and what's his name, Ethan Peck.
Yeah.
So they're still banking on the and they're more popular now. Chris Pine more so than Zachary Quinto.
Mm.
Although Zachary Quinto does stage
No, but
stuff. And,
you know, if you think about it, the only really popular venerable franchise that Paramount has right now is Mission Impossible. So and I think Mission Impossible is coming to an end with 7 and 8.
Which we should continue. They should continue that. They should spin off the cruise movies into a TV show.
series. You said that before.
Bingo.
Yeah, because that's the natural progression of a
Yeah.
series that started on TV anyway.
Right, bingo,
You know?
right?
And you're not going to compete with Tom Cruise's movies.
No, of course not.
So make a what's the show? A Reacher / what was that Chris Pratt show that just came out? Terminal List.
Yeah.
Make a show
But-
like that with maybe
Yeah,
not
Mission.
so serious, but with Mission Impossible.
Yeah.
A little more action, adventure, fun. But
I mean,
if
you
you're
guys
listening,
know
Paramount,
I'm a huge Mission Impossible fan. So if
I
you're
would
listening,
kill
Paramount,
to see an awesome
I
Mission
will-
Impossible show.
I will. I'll come in anytime you want and pitch you my pitch for the Mission Impossible
There
show
you
because
go.
I got one.
And I'll stand
Um,
behind and do an interpretive dance of his pitch.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is not a boundary that needed pushing because Caligula exists. Well, the story behind Caligula is that the actors like Helen Mirren and Malcolm McDowell and stuff, when they were on set, there was no porn going on. They only discovered the pornographic scenes that the guy from Penthouse filmed and intercut with scenes with them in it. The actors are nude in the movie. There's lots of nudity from the real actors and stuff, but like, the actual hardcore pornography that's in the movie was something that was done.
Didn't what was that movie?
without-
Brown Bunny? Didn't what's her name like supposedly blow this guy in that movie for real?
The director, yes, it's Chloe
Savini?
Yeah, I always know her, but like I know she's
And,
from she's from Kids. She's from Big Love with Bill Paxton.
yeah, she's a solid actress. A lot of good stuff.
She was in the second season of American Horror Story. I remember her in that. She's an interesting actress. Doing sex acts on film, like, I mean, it's almost like not even a thing nowadays. It's like we've got,
No, guys.
we've
I mean,
got bigger problems, folks. But still, it's
Yeah.
like would you want that on record? Come on, no.
No, but if you want to,
Listen,
see,
my sex tape is amazing, bro. It's all
No,
over
but
the
I'm like-
internet.
No, but I'm like, if you want to see naked people, watch porn. Porn is always better than
Mm,
yeah. eh,
That's
do
always my
that.
thought. Like people are always like, "Oh, did you see this hot actress?" I'm like, "Yeah, you can see
I
like a
would, but
thousand hot actresses. Like,
when you look
who's
in their
ugly in
eyes,
Hollywood?"
there's no soul, and they're
Yeah.
just dead
I don't
inside.
know, man. You gotta find the right ones, bro.
Just
The
joking.
ones with the stories, bro.
No,
The dead side.
you know,
You need a good story behind a good
Good
porn, bro.
story.
I'm sorry, but it's
I've
true.
got a good porn joke because it relates to the new Monsters movie, the
Oh
Rob
God,
Zombie
please
one.
don't get me started on that piece of shit.
When you see that trailer, right?
Oh,
And
so bad.
you see its production value. I made a joke about how uh, porn has better production value than like it's actually lit better and like they're
Yeah.
filmed with like Red X
It's
cameras,
true.
like cinematic cameras and stuff.
Bro, some porn
Yeah.
is nice, man. They got some 4K cameras going on. They got some nice
Yeah.
shit.
Man. Yeah.
I don't like this.
No.
I don't like the ones where it's one girl and 700 guys. It's like, what is this? This is animalistic. This is not natural. What the fuck?
The Wednesday movie
this is
show looks pretty
insanity.
good.
I don't mean I
Yeah.
was being hyperbolic. It's not maybe 50 or something, but you see these some and I'm like, fuck, Jesus Christ. Guess you
Yeah.
gotta make a living.
Where do I put this thing, bro?
Oh. How did
Yeah,
we get into this? Why? Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
no,
Caligula. Yeah, that's
yeah.
right.
You know what? I will shift the conversation. Has anybody
No,
here
wait,
played The Last
we
of
still
Us?
have comments about it.
Okay.
Unsimulated sex is a boundary already crossed. We know this.
Yeah.
There's actually disturbing Rachel Lee Cook. Is that her name? The one from God, Westworld.
From the videos of your
Rachel
brain on
Lee?
drugs.
No. Evan Rachel Wood.
Evan Rachel Wood. She
Oh.
used to
Yeah.
go out with Marilyn Manson.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And there's a music video where he
Oh.
has unsimulated sex with her, and it was like
Yeah.
against, like she didn't know, it was like against her will,
Mhm.
and I'm pretty sure that's like banned, like you can't see it anywhere. But I remember back in the day, I was like, God, this is kind of disturbing.
No,
And
I
it was
get,
it
no.
was it was a literal in a music video sexual assault. It was crazy. I couldn't
Yeah,
believe it. Like he
you
was
can
a
actually
fucked
still.
up guy, dude.
Yeah, you can actually still find the
It's not
video,
just an act.
and apparently, Evan Rachel Wood was, you know, she was given like pills to like make her
Mhm.
more docile before the scene, which is really terrifying. Um,
She
That's how I like to do it, but I give myself the pills.
her in that first season of Westworld,
Oh,
it was
yeah.
probably her at her best.
Mhm.
Yeah, I've
Like
only
her
seen
character
season
is
one of
kind of
Westworld.
meandering now. She's out in the
Mhm.
real world. She's like figuring out
I don't
what's going on.
I don't blame anything that I don't like on Westworld after season 2 on Reverend Richard Wood. There's only two people I blame for the cluster F that is Westworld, and that's Jonathan Nolan and Lisa Joy, because they make shit so unnecessarily complicated that it's nauseating. But I'm like, guys, just ugh.
I never watched past season one. I love season one, but
Oh
I
God,
never tried to. I
damn
never
it.
went back to season two. I just kind of forgot.
Geek
That's
makes
all right.
a good point about the Star Trek thing. Urban is doing The Boys till at least the end of the year. By the way, they're bringing in Jeffrey Dean Morgan
Listen,
for
that
season
geek
4.
guy is questionable because he's only right like 90% of the time. So
And he says,
I don't know if
well,
we should trust him really.
this is Pine is filming, editing, and promoting his own film into mid-late 2023. So can't see how they'd line up the cast. He's also going to be in Don't Worry, Darling with
Yep.
Florence Pugh.
Oh,
And
the
Olivia
movie
Wilde.
that Shia was fired from
Yeah.
or not
He
fired from.
wasn't
Or
fired.
so you think.
Well, yeah, depending on who you believe.
Mm-hmm.
He's a strange guy. He's a guy you could probably just have a conversation with out in the street. He would actually talk to you. He'd be like, "Oh, sure, let's go have coffee." I'm like, "What? You're Shia LaBeouf?" He's like, "Yeah, sure. I'm just a person. I'm trying to show people that I'm just a person. Do it."
Do it. No, but I first saw Shy when I was in school. I was in science class, and I watched the movie Holes. That was his
Mhm.
first movie, Disney Channel movie, and then I fell in love with him as an actor with the original Transformers movie. Awkwardly enough, written by Bob Orsi and Alex Kurtzman. So
I used to watch
yeah.
Even Stevens
Oh yeah,
with him. Yeah, it was
cool.
like his first show.
Yeah,
When he was doing it.
I think Shia is a really really talented actor, but I think that
Supremely talented.
yeah, I think that his demons have gotten in the way of his career.
Do you want to know my theory about his his possible reason for his weird behavior and mental state?
I actually loved him
Sure.
in Nymphomaniac.
It's a little movie called Transformers: Revenge of the Fallen. I'm surprised Megan Fox probably suffered the same amount of brain damage, judging by her. But anyway, no, that's mean. But that's who I
Yes.
am.
That's who I am.
No, but I don't know so much about the first one. You know, in the part where like Optimus is like, Sam, get to the cube, and he's like running with the cube, and he's like, like some of that physical stuff. You know, you take a beating. But if you watch the second movie, fuck, dude, like I don't know what's up with Michael Bay, but he put them actors like in the line of fire in that second movie in the desert stuff.
Yeah.
Like when that shit's like pop, 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 blowing up behind him.
They were right there.
Going flying and like hit. He actually had like injuries. So I'm like, sometimes maybe like people with so many concussions, it can affect your behavior. I think I've seen it in my life. People.
I think there's people like when like Shia, people like Shia who became super famous, super fast, super young.
That could be part of it too. Yeah.
You either handle it,
Or
don't handle it, or you fall somewhere in between. And I think he's in that somewhere in between right now, where he could go either way. And so, because it's I can't imagine the amount of pressure and so many people wanting things out of you suddenly, and not for good reasons. People just want to milk you for what you're worth, basically. And you're 13 or something. And I mean, he didn't have it too bad because Disney, I'm pretty sure, protects most of its child actors. I would hope. Who knows? But I think that's a big thing. Like either you handle it, you go completely bonkers, like Ezra Miller's doing right now, or you kind of like Shia was bonkers. Now he's kind of like, I mean, if you read his, did you read the email he wrote to Olivia Wilde?
Yeah, I know, but the thing about him and yeah, he's not nearly as like Ezra is like a different story. Like he's an actual.
Because if you read the email to
find
Olivia
that
Wilde that he wrote, he talks a lot about like the problems he's trying to get over.
Oh yeah.
Personal problems and stuff. So he's working through something for sure. Like I think Ezra Miller's just in that part now. Like he's going through something. It's again super fast fame, super young.
I think anybody who participated in the film Nymphomaniac probably has something you get sorted out.
Man, that was a great movie.
Oh, Jesus Christ! You should see the stuff they cut out. Oh my God!
That was a fucking
it's
solid.
Like, wow,
movie.
Is this real? Like they claim it's not real. I'm like, how? This is digital effects apparently. And like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like. There's stuff there's apparently the hardcore elements in the film are digitally assisted or they're faked somehow. And I'm like, oh, okay. Maybe. Sure. But it doesn't, you can't really tell. I've seen the whole movie. It's a depressing movie, dude. Like people talk about like sex in movies.
No,
sometimes sex in movies is not meant to be like, oh,
fun.
This is hot. It's meant to be like, oh, this is fucking sad. Like, this is not good. I'm not talking about assault in a sense. I'm talking about just like
the WP,
the whole concept of being a nymphomaniac and what that can mean for a person. And it's not a good thing. It's not a great thing. Doesn't glamorize it in any way. Although some people might watch it and be like, oh yeah, pee on me or something. I'm like, well, to each their own. To each their own, sir.
Yeah, I've only seen
float your boat.
Yeah, I've only seen Nymphomaniac once. I think I just saw the first
today,
one.
You mean?
No. Once
eating a turkey sandwich with mayo.
Once in my life.
I had that scene on the train, and I was like, I can't eat this sandwich anymore.
Oh, Ruben, you always pick myself apart. It's cool. It's fine. Um,
Anybody see
yeah,
She-Hulk? No.
I did. Yep, I did. I did.
Speaking of rampant misogyny, no, I'm joking.
No, I mean, look, I mean, we had a conversation before we came on. I think She-Hulk is good for what it
Oh,
is, but
excuse me,
it's
Marcella. I just want to ask: is it okay to spoil it for you, Ruben?
Oh yeah, I'm not gonna watch it.
Okay,
oh
good.
yeah. No, I think I'm not going to talk spoilers, but
Oh, you
I
can.
think She-Hulk is good for what it is, but it's just not grabbing me. Like the last Marvel thing that really grabbed me was WandaVision, and I think that's a sign of a bigger systemic problem. I think Marvel is doing quantity over quality, and I just haven't been invested in Marvel in a long time. The last Marvel thing that I was invested in is Infinity War and Endgame, and for a large part, I think this Phase 4 has been a giant dud for me personally. I know I didn't talk about She-Hulk too much, but yeah,
Well, Phase 4 is there's so much TV in Phase 4 that
right, right, right.
it just by
Yeah,
default lessens the overall quality because they're only
right.
going to allow you to do so much with the TV format.
Hmm.
The biggest problem with
Yeah, it
She-Hulk,
doesn't have that like epic quality of a movie.
Right, right, right.
I'll
with
be right back.
She-Hulk, with She-Hulk and Hawkeye, for example,
Mm,
they're like a long movie cut up. With
yeah.
She-Hulk, it's probably a bit less time. Like it's how many? I
No,
don't
I
know.
mean
How many episodes are there? Like 8, maybe 6.
nine for
Okay,
She-Hulk.
so 9. So 4.5 hours, say.
Also, I think somebody said it on a John Campea show, or I heard it somewhere. Marvel doesn't know how to do. I think it was John. Marvel really doesn't have a good sense of how to structure, you know, uh, a TV show because She-Hulk feels like acts of a movie so far cut up into segments, and it feels like it's not enough or it's too little. Like,
Yeah, it. You know what? It's same thing with Hawkeye and WandaVision did it best. WandaVision was so great at being episodic, but keeping you
mhm,
wanting more. Like you felt like you got a good dose of entertainment in each episode.
right, right, right.
Loki, kind of the same way. And
Oh,
then
I
when you
forgot
get,
about
as
Loki.
soon as you get to Hawkeye, it's like, oh,
Mhm.
this is just the movie plus all the deleted content
Right,
put
right.
in an assembly cut, chopped up into episodes of a TV show. That's what it
Hmm.
feels like. Florence Pugh's conversation at one point in Hawkeye with the girl just goes on for like 5 minutes. You're like, oh, this is like you're just putting the outtakes in here.
Right,
Like you're just
right.
dragging it out to fill out an episode.
I'm I'm really interested to see what Marvel is going to do with Daredevil Reborn in 2024 because they're going to do 18 episodes for that. And if they do 30-minute episodes for Daredevil Reborn, I will seriously hurt someone cuz
I don't. Yeah, that doesn't. 30 minutes doesn't. They say this is a sitcom. She-Hulk is a sitcom, so it's like
right,
it makes sense for it to
right.
be 30 minutes. I'm like, not
No.
with what they're giving you. I mean, the first episode, granted, it's all
Hmm.
set up. It's all
Right.
about her and Bruce like figuring stuff out.
Mhm.
Cool.
Mhm.
She goes off and now she's doing her lawyer thing, right?
Right.
And then boom,
Oh wow.
big thing happens. Episode ends. So it's like, all right, I'll give you that.
Okay.
Then the second one, which is good. Oh, that's
Just
cool.
do you see
Ooh.
what
That's cool.
All right, I didn't realize I could do shadow puppets. That's awesome.
Hey, cool.
But then the second episode, it's good with the
Yeah,
Blonsky,
with Blonsky, yeah.
and
It was really cool seeing him again. I'm sorry, PJ,
but
for
but then all of a sudden, it's like she sees on the news the Shang-Chi stuff about how Abomination had escaped and fought in tournaments underground which is like, oh, cool, that happened in Shang-Chi. I wonder if they were ever going to bring that up, and they do, and it's a huge issue for her case. It's going to cause a lot of complications. Over. And it's like, it feels like the episode just started to get going.
Mm-hmm.
And I've heard people complain about the same thing. It's where it's like, it cuts off too quick. It's like, oh, you're not giving me an episode of a TV show. You're just giving me bits and bites.
Right.
It doesn't feel like like an episode.
It feels like an
beginning, middle, and end.
Yeah, it feels like an appetizer, not a meal.
Yeah, and you're just waiting for that 30-minute segment where all the juicy stuff happens, and then like whatever. Like Hawkeye has those moments. Hawkeye has some like cool ass action, and there are always these great moments in these Marvel shows, but there's a lot of fucking filler to sit through. Sometimes it's like, really, we're at this guy's apartment now? For what reason? And we're just talking about nothing. Where that scene with Florence Pugh, like I said, Florence Pugh shows up in Hawkeye, and I'm in love with this woman, right? Like, I'd watch her read the fucking dictionary. Which I was like, after a while, I was like, I wish she'd shut the fuck up. Because the scene just goes on and on and on, and I'm like, God damn. So, She-Hulk, good, too short.
Yeah, no, and
I'm over the CGI, by the way. I can just, it's stupid, whatever, who cares? Go ahead.
It's fine. But I do think that She-Hulk has a cool Ally McBeal kind of thing. But again, I just think that it's too goddamn short.
McBeal was clever, though. I know what you mean, though. I know what you mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry. Again, I just think it's too goddamn short. It should be, a 43-minute show. So
Between 42 and 44 minutes is the standard for like what would be an hour
there
on
you go.
television.
From what I've seen
you're
and
gonna do a
gathered, I
drama
haven't
or
watched
even
the
a
show, but
Yeah.
it seems like they're just going for more of a sitcom, a comedy, than an
Right,
actual
yeah.
like drama, so to speak.
There are cool jokes. For example, in the second episode, she's tasked with defending Blonsky, who, if you remember from the Edward Norton Incredible Hulk, tried to kill him, was ordered to kill him by the government, which he brings up, and it's funny because they talk about the Incredible Hulk, that like redheaded stepchild of the Marvel Universe. And Mark Ruffalo, as Hulk, says, you know what, it's okay, it's in the past. I was a different guy then, literally. And then what's She-Hulk's name again? Jennifer?
Jennifer, yeah.
Jennifer. She looks at the camera and says, like laughs at the fact that he's making a reference to the fact that Edward Norton played Bruce Banner and he was a different Hulk, a different actor. So that's like breaking the fourth wall. And it's like, okay, this is Deadpool area. This is the closest they've come to imitating Deadpool. You're on mute, by the way. Are you mouthing words?
Sorry, I didn't know I was muted.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
What were you saying?
I forgot.
No,
there were 3 actors that played Hulk so far, right? Live action.
Eric Bana, but the
Bana,
the
Norton,
Ang Lee
and-
version is not connected to the Marvel.
Right.
universe.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm like, yeah. Well, my problems with Marvel are well documented, so I'll just shut up. Because it's not really worth me wasting my breath anyway.
Well, it can't all go on forever and be at the peak
Yeah.
performance. It has to have lulls, and
that is true.
maybe they'll pick it back up with something soon or whatever. They'll blow
Right.
everybody's mind. What's the next movie coming out for Marvel?
Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. Yeah.
They should bring back the trailer voice guy, because Black Panther,
that'd
like
be
that,
cool.
like the visuals in that, it should be like some guys like return to a world, and it's like we're Wakanda something, and it's like Black Panther, Wakanda forever. No.
That'd be cool. That'd be cool.
They should bring back the movie voice guy. That would have worked great for Avatar: Way of Water.
Oh yeah, that would have. Yeah.
First you knew the way of the air. Now you know the way of the water.
You haven't thought of this movie at all in 10 years,
despite
despite
it
it
Yeah,
making
10
$1
years.
billion. Well, here's the movie no one really wanted, but what the fuck? James Cameron's got nothing better to do.
No. But you do know that the movie's gonna come out and then James Cameron's gonna knock us all on our asses. You do know that, right?
I didn't like Avatar, so I don't even think I'm gonna watch the next one.
Really? Okay. You didn't like
No,
Avatar?
I didn't like Avatar at all.
You didn't connect.
I mean, aside
Okay.
from the effects and the visuals, but
You didn't connect with Jake Scully. And
It's
Sigourney
actually-
Weaver
with
as a
Pocahontas in the year
grizzled
3000.
old scientist.
No, but I mean, we all know fucking Avatar is Dances with Wolves and Ferngully in space. That's what it is.
A lot of
Ferngully
movies are
3000.
a lot of movies are based. I like that phenomenon of movies that all have like a similar origin. Like you can say like, oh, it's based off this, but you can go further back and say, no, it's based off of this older thing. I like tracing those things too. Like, think about how many A Christmas Carol movies have been made. There must be 100. There must be.
Oh yeah,
at
easily.
least.
The first one was like 1930 or something.
And it's like, how many do something different? From
I
what
actually
another one
just
did? They're all
wrote
the same.
a pilot for a producer in New York. That's loosely, I can't say much about it, but it's very much tied into Christmas Carol and that whole story. And so I've done a lot of research on Christmas Carol. So it's funny that you brought that up.
How many? Just really quick. How many pilots do you usually write for individuals in a
I'll be
year?
right back. 1 second.
Not enough, my friend.
Okay.
Not enough.
But-
No, I mean it comes and goes. You know, that's the weird business we're in. That,
Mhm.
and then it all comes at once, of course, because like now I'm writing. Well, I wrote the pilot already, so that's done. That's being pitched around or whatever.
Okay.
And then that same producer, I'm writing. He made a movie that's on Amazon, and so he's trying to raise now the money for the sequel.
Okay. Cool.
So I'm writing. He's basically hired me to write the sequel, and then I kind of convinced him to let me do an Evil Dead 2 thing to it, where it's kind of a remake, but not really.
Mhm.
And then so yeah, and then I'm writing a pilot for another production company down here, but that seems to have they've been quiet for a while, so I don't know what's going on with that.
Okay.
So yeah,
Now, with I mean, I don't want to get too far into the weeds, just in case you
Mhm.
don't want to. But when you write these pilots for these individuals, do you get paid upfront, or do you get paid on completion of the project, or how does
Both.
that work? Okay.
I usually do, if you even want me to think about the project, basically a retainer fee, and then whatever my actual fee is, split in half. So if I charge, say $1,000, you give me 500 now and 500 when I deliver the final drafts and materials, because
Oh.
it's never just the script; it's everything that goes with it too. So
And that's just and that's exclusively for a pilot, right?
I mean, a movie I work the same. I usually try to think in my head how much I want per page.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so if you want a movie, I'm thinking, okay, a movie is roughly an average movie nowadays is about 100 pages or an hour, and or 100 minutes basically. So, I try to work off a wage of like, okay, I want $50 a page, and then so I'll charge this much for the movie, and then I give options because sometimes people can't pay all the first half, so you can say, well, we can break down the payments and whatever,
Oh,
there's
in
ways to do
sections.
that.
Okay.
But I definitely try to get some money up front because a lot of projects die and people disappear. And so, like, I wrote a Star Wars movie. Well, not a movie. It's more like a pilot,
Web
I
series?
guess. It wasn't meant to be a pilot, but it kind of ended up being 45 pages or roughly 50 pages. So it was a pilot. And that production company, they paid me a lot of money, my first half. And then the producer ran into financial
good.
troubles, and they had to cancel the project. And this had nothing to do with Disney or anything. It was just like independent people who just wanted to make their own
Right.
Star Wars indie film. But
Right.
they had tons of money, they had tons of equipment, and so yeah. So like, and I'm still dying to do that project because I love the script I wrote for that movie, and so yeah, it depends. It depends on the project.
That's interesting.
If you're close to the people, and I mean, I've done the thing where like I know the people and I like the project, so I'll say fuck it. I'll wait to the end and see what
Okay.
happens. But that's burned
Mm,
me a lot more than it's ever been good. So I
okay.
try to at least get the retainer fee up front and like, oh, okay, at least I get a month's worth of money, even if this project goes nowhere. And then that retainer fee is basically like, okay, now I'll take the next month to create different possibilities for this kind of story you want. Like this guy, the Christmas Carol thing. He's a producer I met, and he just had this weird idea for this like Christmas Carol thing, like a modern day kind of spin-off thing. It's really weird. It was a really weird idea, but I was totally into it. I love Christmas Carol, and so I totally was into the idea. So I took a few weeks and I said, okay, this is the three way. These are three ways I think we can do it where it'll be effective and have like the vibes that we want. And then I wrote the bulk of the script, and then basically what we would do in this collaboration, I would send him the script. He'd sort of because he's not really a writer. He's a producer and a director, so he's not really comfortable writing scripts. So what he would do is, which was kind of cool, I would write the script and then I'd send it to him, and then within the script where he thought, oh, we should have this kind of scene here, he basically write it in prose. Like he'd write a paragraph of what he thinks should be there. And
Okay.
then I'd go back and go, okay, I get it. And then, okay, this is how you'd script that. And then I'd script it in there.
All
And
right.
so we
Okay.
ended up with like a 55-page pilot. A producer
Wow.
who I always forget his freaking name because it's a weird Italian name. No offense to Italian, sorry.
That's okay.
But the producer, he was a producer on he was a showrunner for Stargate and a showrunner, and he created the show Dark Matter.
Oh. Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
So like
Okay.
he took a look at it. He's kind of mentoring the project, so he's taking a look at the script and giving his thoughts on it.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have her shopping around agencies and whatnot. And
Mm.
thankfully, the producer takes care of that, so I don't do any of that crap because I hate all that stuff. I just like to write. Um, so yeah, that's usually how it works. Same
Um,
for the feature. It's just I just try to think of the per page, and
the
then
creator you're talking about is a Canadian named Joseph Malozzi.
Malozzi. I can never
Sure.
remember his freaking
And
yeah, but
I
that
was
guy,
trying to
yeah,
sound like not offensively Italian, just then did it work?
Malozzi. Hey,
Malozzi.
Mamma
So.
Mia! I made a TV
It's like
show.
this the guy me and Marcelo often bring up, John Campiat.
Oh
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, I've
It's
seen
actually
Campia show.
pronounced John
John
Campia,
Campia.
and
But we never say it like that, do we?
the late great
Uh.
John Schnepp used to say it like that.
The other
Yeah.
problem is you get the
And his
retainer
real
because
name
if
is Giovanni, and
Yep.
he says the names of his like fathers and uncles, and they're all like hardcore old
Italians.
village
Yeah.
Italian
old
names, right?
Italian dudes.
Yeah.
The
Um.
the smoothest sounding names in existence, really.
mm. What were you saying? What were you gonna
Oh,
say
I was gonna
about the
say
other
the
thing
other
about
thing
the
is because you
retainer?
can get the retainer to go your pitches out, and then they don't like any of them, and then you
Oh.
wasted your time and didn't get paid for anything. So that's a lot
Okay.
a reason why. So I'm like, even if you want me to even waste another day thinking about your thing, you gotta pay me because I'm not.
Did you ever have a
That's
dream of writing for Star Trek or doing any of that stuff, or was that never? Do you ever write any fan fiction?
No, yeah, oh yeah. Starfleet I can tell you, I wrote a lot of Star Trek fan. I had a whole series back in high school called Starfleet 25th Century.
Wow.
cool.
What year
Captain
exactly?
Dudes.
Was it the beginning of the 25th century or?
I don't remember. I know it was like I think it was like 100 years after Next Gen or 80 years or something. I did kind of like the same sort of jump Next Gen did from TOS. And then Starfleet Board would draw ships for it,
Oh, that's cool.
and he would write his own stories, but he would also draw cool ships. Like I
Mhm.
remember before Voyager, we had the whole a moving wing kind of idea thing going. The moving
I'm
nacelles. I
moving
mean wings
wing.
and nacelles. But it's
Nice.
weird,
Okay.
actually, that you mentioned that, PJ, because I did write stories for Star Trek, and I actually wrote one of my first scripts I ever wrote when I was like, oh, I'm gonna try to write a script. Oh, I feel so cool. I wrote a script for Deep Space Nine, which was,
It's crazy. You could submit them back then. Like it was a
yeah,
thing.
yeah,
Yeah.
You
yeah,
could just send them
Yeah.
yeah,
in. It was
Michael Piller had
crazy.
the open policy. Yeah.
yeah, and that was my little dream of like, ooh, I'm gonna submit my script, and I don't remember. All I remember it was basically sort of the Fugitive, but on Deep Space Nine,
Mm.
which I think they kind of sort of did later on with like that prey kid guy alien that comes on board and he's being hunted
Yeah.
or whatever. Sort of the same thing.
One of the scripts, well, the first script that I ever wrote, or the first story that I ever wrote, that sort of sparked my idea into storytelling, was a script about a disabled medical examiner who solved the crimes of the people who ended up on his table. So
Right. No, that sounds cool.
yeah, so it was like a touch between that show Crossing Jordan, and I took a bunch of inspiration from Aaron Brockovich and stuff like that for the A plot, or the main plot of the pilot episode. Um, but um, but when I usually write pilots, I like to keep them to like 66 pages. I don't normally go
Excuse me.
beyond that, but that's just me. Sorry for taking over the stream, PJ.
No, I'm
But
sorry for
No,
coughing.
no, no.
while
I
you're
like
talking.
this discussion about script writing. Keep going.
um, yeah, but I my process usually starts out with a base story, and I normally write out the base story before I take it into actually fitting it into an actual script. I have to get my head around the idea first
Right.
before I write anything, because I years ago, I used to shoot from the hip, and I used to find that so, you know, annoying and so frustrating. And with the thing that I'm working on now, I've been working on it for about 6 or 7 months now, and I actually wrote a Bible for it before I even wrote the pilot. And I found that to be very extremely helpful, because
Hmm.
after working out the Bible, I knew what all my characters' motivations were. I knew where I wanted to go. I knew some of the big points I wanted to hit
Right. Right.
in the episodes. So everything was pretty much there. I just had to color in the lines.
Right. Right. Yeah. One of the things I would tell my screenwriting student all the time was that because she was too, I think she was getting overwhelmed by the idea of scripting.
Hmm.
And I told her obviously I told there's many ways to get to the same place, and
Yeah.
some writers are outliners first, or prose writers first. They like to write it in the sort of was it called, the treatment format first,
Right.
so that
Right.
you
The
so
treatment.
like what you just said, so that you get your major, where
Mhm.
I'm the opposite. I'm a lunatic, and if I get an idea in
Yeah.
my head, I'll script 40 pages before I even touch an outline. Like I'm a lunatic. I go
Oh,
off.
you're
And
not
I
that
type
bad.
super
Come on.
fast, so like but that's how I operate. And then I work backwards and start
Right.
outlining and character bios,
Right.
and and once I've got their voices in my head, and I'm like, okay, I feel it, and then it all
Mhm.
And
start
then when you're
massaging and
then when you're
massaging
at
and
the
massaging.
pharmacist and you're talking about the voices in your head, he's like, "I'm gonna get you some pills for that."
I mean, dude, there's
Yeah.
a reason a lot of writers go crazy, man. That's all I gotta say.
I,
Yeah.
you may
It's
not
not.
know this, but I was a good little writer when I was a kid, man. I impressed the adults, and
That's
that's what
cool.
like kind of got me into it. When I was in grade one, I'll never forget it. They're like, just make up a story. Like that was the first time a teacher was ever like grade one, where
I like
kids,
this.
some of the kids in the class like couldn't count past 10, and they're like, write a story, and I wrote like, I don't know, it was a few. I knew paragraph structure, and like we back in the day they really taught you early, and like even if you were a kid who like uh, used your left hand for anything, the teachers would be like, oh no, you're gonna learn how to use that right hand because that's the devil. It was all Catholic superstition, right?
Hmm.
But they were really strict about like literature. Like you need to spell things right, and grammar was very very important. I went to this place called Presentation where all of the teachers were nuns,
Mm.
and Sister Doris was my grade one teacher. And when we wrote this story, like making anything up, I was like, okay, I wrote this story about a kid whose dad dies in a car accident, and then he builds a snowman one day and wishes that his dad would come back as a snowman. And
That's
it
Jack
Cute.
Frost,
happens.
isn't it?
And that's the plot of fucking Jack Frost.
Yeah.
And I came up with that in grade one.
Wow.
I like
It's
to
on.
say everybody's a writer. It's just about persistence and practice, bro.
Hmm.
You just
Yeah.
got to do it, and you're gonna write shit. I told my
We
screenwriting student all
Yeah.
the time. I go, this script you're writing right now that I'm helping you write is gonna be sucky.
It's gonna be shit.
It's gonna be a piece of shit. It's your first fucking script. What do you think? You're gonna write
Hmm.
gold like just out of the gate?
No.
Come on, man. Michael
Mm-mm.
Jordan didn't dunk from the free throw line at 12 years old. Like he had to work at it,
No.
and so Sorry for the basketball reference. I've been watching a lot of basketball analysis lately. It's kind of in my
Yeah.
head.
There's a lot of stuff
Um,
you can write, and then you give it time, you give it space, and you go back, and you're like, oh, that's not very good. What
Hmm.
was I
oh
thinking
yeah,
there?
I don't go back and read like a script I wrote 10 years ago or something. No way, because I'll just
No.
not only that, but like a lot of big part of writing is editing. So once you start reading a script, your brain immediately starts editing it and saying, "Oh, what could be done better here? What could be cleaner? What could be faster? Whatever." And so if you're
Yeah.
doing that to your own scripts, forget about it.
I
I
no, no lie. I spend more time editing my scripts than actually writing
Well,
anything.
that's what I tell people
Uh,
all the time. It's more
what's that
writing is more
writing thing they
editing
call
than
a
anything
stream of
else.
consciousness, where you can write consistently without really checking back for a while because you're kind of in the moment, and you know where it's going, and like you're in the
Yeah,
zone.
you're in the zone.
yeah, and I think that really like it's less mystical than just once once you do it enough, it becomes like people say muscle memory, but like it becomes second nature to you, So
Hmm.
like I've worked with writers who are like, God damn, you fucking script fast as shit, and I'm like, yeah, you know how long I've been writing and how much I've written to get there. I didn't write that fast in high school.
No.
I had to learn it, and it's all about, and that's why I tell people it's not really, there's nothing mystical about it. It's not about, I mean, yeah, there's a certain degree of talent for sure, like, especially to be like the Stephen Kings of the world or whatever. But a lot of it is really just persistence, bro, and some luck and some fucking, and just practice, practice, practice. And reading scripts and going, that's how they did it. That's how Tarantino does it,
Mm.
But you also got to kind of remember as a new writer that
You're
you
gonna
have to
suck.
show the people that you can write a script, and you have to have your voice in it, but you have to. It's an interesting process, but yeah.
The
Yeah, no, that's
first script.
the
What was the first script you ever read? Like that was an actual movie that was made or something
Oh,
you
Return of the
recognized.
Jedi,
Okay.
and then Indiana Jones.
yeah.
I
What about
still
you,
have the
Marcelo?
scripts. Yeah, I bought them at
Uh,
we had a movie theater that sold scripts in the lobby. They had like a little shelf
Oh, really?
that just
Jesus.
sold
mm,
scripts, and I was like, holy shit! And I just
So
started
you
buying scripts like crazy.
that's
And then
interesting.
I went to Seattle, has a comic book store that it's underground. It's really cool, and they have a freaking massive wall of scripts. And I was in Seattle, and I was only there for like 10 days. I came home with like 10 scripts. I was like, ah.
wow, that's
And
cool.
the funny thing is, I'll tell you a funny story about that because one of the scripts I bought in Seattle was Aliens, the second Aliens,
Aliens.
written by James Cameron. And if you turned that script in today, if a new writer turned that script in today, it'd probably be
Uh-uh.
rejected
Yep.
because the first page is basically a book.
Yeah.
It doesn't even almost look like a script. It's like just this big block of prose
Description.
describing space and the Nostromo and all that, or not the
All this
Nostromo,
shit.
the escape pod thing she was on, all that shit. And like nowadays, you look at scripts
Mm,
now and they're like lean as hell. Like it's
nope.
two sentences, dialogue, two sentences. Like
Mm.
it's way snappier now.
Four
Do,
lines. That's it.
And there's a typo on the page, so guys, don't despair. Anyone can write.
Yeah. No, the first script that I ever read made me want to throw it out the window and go and slap my screenplay writer instructor in the face.
oh
Uh,
my goodness.
Holy shit!
Was it last time you were in Paris?
that,
It
no, no, the first script that I ever read was it wasn't even a script for a movie. It was a script for the pilot episode of The West Wing. And see the
Mm.
problem with
Mm,
my
Aaron Sorkin,
screenplay.
Jesus Christ.
Yes. Hmm. See, the problem with my instructor was that I could never, like, I would get this right, but then I wouldn't get something right. So I was always in a rush. I was always 2 or 3 steps behind him. I could never be good enough. I could never satisfy him. Like, I would address something that he wanted, and he would say, do it like this. And I'm like, but how do you do this? Like, he didn't really know how to address the questions that I was having.
Right,
So
right.
that's why I flamed out of I mean, Ruben, you know this. I flamed out of screenplay writing class 3 times, and then I said, fuck it, I'll just teach myself. And I taught myself, and I think I'm a better writer for that now. And at this point in time I have another mentor who understands me as an individual and who has helped me become the writer that I should have been all along. Um, yeah,
Yeah, no,
but
Mon-
I mean, like I
monetary
said, I think
success
for
as a writer is very hard to come by,
I
right? Like
think even
that's
yeah, I mean if you're talking about like yeah, like some sort of celebrity fame success, that's hard. That's one in a
yeah,
million, and that takes a little bit of luck and the right connections and all sorts of other things that don't even involve actual writing. You know,
mm,
well, like I'm sure out in the world there's writers who have a stack of books they've written better than Stephen King, but they just never got the right options. You know, like even the famous story of J.K. Rowling, she got Harry Potter was rejected like 20 something times
mhm.
by publishers. So is it a good book or are people crazy or like you know what I mean? You can kind of answer, you can question all that stuff. But I think like anything, this goes for anything. Where basically, if you want to be whatever the best fucking basketball player, because whatever I'm going to talk about basketball, it's
Practice.
just yeah, dude, practice, persistence, and always realizing you're never gonna
You're
learn
never gonna be.
everything. So keep learning because you're never gonna get to the end.
Yeah,
It's like
keep
the
reading.
internet. Keep learning, keep reading. You know what I mean? Don't you know? You're never
Mm,
gonna be fucking Tarantino or whoever.
no,
You're gonna be you,
no, yeah,
and Tarantino's never gonna be you. So like, you got to do your thing and just
no.
go for it.
And
You know?
also, I think that I got to a point in my career where I said to myself, "Screw it. I'm gonna keep writing, and if I make it to what I want, good. But if I don't, that's okay." Um,
You know
the,
how I
you know,
interview all these people for Pop Axiom, you know, film and TV professionals, and a lot of them like the avenues to how they got to where they are all so different. And that's why I love doing those interviews because I think it really shows people that like there's not some magical route to this. Like you just have to want to do it and keep doing it, and you know it's going to be hard sometimes. No, it's going to be like I actually, funny enough, talked about this with my friend Chaka who was in Picard episode 2 or season 1. Whatever.
episode
Was it episode 1 or 2? Yeah,
episode 2.
I think it's
yeah.
It
episode
was the
two.
Mr.
opening
Next Snap.
scene on the Mars shipyards.
Right, we were
Yeah.
talking about this too because you know, he was obviously a working actor who was in Hollywood and working around all those people and on Vampire Diaries and like around that that tier, you know,
And on my
the
block. On my block.
NBA, you know, and so and you know he says he would hear that all the time how people would say how hard it was and we were talking about it. He's like he never saw it that way, and I said yeah because you were always focused on what really matters, which is just getting to where you want to be. So it never seemed hard because the effort was for a goal that you really wanted. And it's the same for all these other people, but they you know some people fall down on the hardness, and it happens to all of us, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
it's nobody's perfect, but like man, persistence, practice, patience,
Yeah.
luck, money.
Yeah.
Because if you have a little, if you're come from a wealthy background, that always helps too. Because you can always enter,
Yeah.
you know, because
Money
like
helps.
screenwriting contests cost money. And
Mm.
so yeah, people tell you just enter contests. Like yeah, this contest is
No.
150 and that one's 100 and this one's 50
Yeah.
and that one's 200. And it's like by the end of the year, I'm out $10,000 on just screenwriting contests, and none of them pay $10,000 usually. So
Yeah, but the other thing about screenplay writing contests is that even if you place high or if you win, there's no guarantee that they're going to give you what they promised you.
right,
It's
I
really
mean it's all
a
crazy. Yeah,
crapshoot. Yeah,
yeah.
but
I do one every once in a while just to see what happens, you know, and if
uh-huh.
whatever. But like, and I do
Mhm.
ones that provide feedback because that to me is what really
Right.
matters.
Mhm.
Like other people's opinions. It's kind of odd. Like you have to simultaneously not give a shit about what people think, but also give a shit about what people think because
Yeah.
you are trying to write something for people to enjoy. So you do kind of have to care about what the fuck people think. You can't just write this weird and bizarre story for yourself that no
Yeah.
one else is going to understand
No, I
unless
mean,
that's what you want to do.
yeah, I remember getting notes in the not the most current thing that I'm writing right now, but the thing before it where I got a note saying that the reader didn't understand why I was writing so many boring mundane scenes, and I really didn't know how to address that. And I just sort of you know took that to heart, and I rewrote all those scenes to be more punchy. But when I gave um the script to a friend of mine who knew who I was and who knew where I was coming from, she loved all those scenes that I took out and I rewrote based on this one
Right.
guy's notes. And she said the heart, like the thing that she loved the most were the mundane scenes that I wrote because she knew where I was, and I often think if the guy who was giving me notes on the script originally would have known a little bit more about me, he would have understood why I wrote the scenes the way I did. But
Right, but with that in mind, you have to remember
right, that's true.
managers and producers don't know you,
That's true.
you know.
Yeah, no,
And
that's true.
that's an important part. I want to like my final point that I want to bring up that a lot I tell young writers all the time that they don't get they're never used to, because we all grow up with like the kind of
Mhm.
fantasy version of what artists do, you know. But then
Right,
there's the actual day-to-day work part of being an artist, right?
right.
It's not all just this magical, you know, I'm drunk all day fucking writing scripts and fucking
No,
hanging like and I write this
no,
genius shit like
no.
and blow all my money. No, like there's so much collaboration along the way, because that's why I hate like a lot of times, even though, you know, I do it all the time, but like I hate criticizing.
Other.
Like you notice I don't write reviews. I do interviews,
No,
but I
you
don't write
don't.
reviews. And I don't because like I kind of hate criticizing things, because in a sense, because or like criticizing, like when we say like, and we do this all the
Doesn't
time,
it
all
make
of
you feel
us.
like an asshole even though you know you don't mean to be?
Well,
Sometimes
it's
you
just
like
the part that bothers me is that, like, for instance, when we're like, oh, the editing in this movie sucks. Where you're like, you don't know what was
Do you know how
filmed.
hard it is?
You don't know what was filmed. You don't know what the editor had to work with. So for all we know, this is the fucking most brilliant version of this movie you could ever possibly see, because the scenes that were filmed were crap, you know.
Mhm.
And the same with like writers, like TV writers. You know, like there's so much collaboration and so many parts written by other people, and so many different ideas that you have to navigate. And in a sense, they're all kind of right, because art is subjective, right? So everybody interprets it their own way, and they're not wrong. So you have to kind of navigate all these kind of ideas while keeping whatever heart and story and part of you that is meant to be there. That's the point of the story, basically, right? That's driving the story
Right.
for you. And so it's crazy, man. It's fucking insane.
Yeah, no, yeah, no. I just want to say one more thing
Cheers.
with this. Yeah, with this new project that I worked on now, I made it a mission statement to write characters that weren't based on anything in my life or weren't me. I tried to remove myself from from the piece, and I wanted to see if I could do that. And
Mhm.
I think I think I succeeded. I mean, I don't think that I did a an excellent job, but I think I did the best I could to remove myself, to remove my personal experiences from the script enough to where I could not see myself in the material, so to speak.
Right.
But
Yeah.
I did that on purpose. Um,
Mm. That's
yeah,
kind of part of too another kind of important aspect to touch on. That's a good thing that you brought that up, because that's
yeah,
another important part of a working writer, right? You're
mhm,
hired by TV show X to write a show. You know, you're more into sci-fi. This is a drama, but you're like, hey, I need to work my way up through the ranks, right, and get to where I
right.
want to get to. And you have to
Mhm.
kind of learn how to write other voices and other things. And you know, I mean, I think it's cool to find, at least try to infuse things with yourself, you know, like character traits and stuff. Maybe not the whole story. Like that's where I find when I'm working on a project that's kind of disconnect, because I have scripts I write for me. Like I have this one script I've been working on for 5 years, and it's my script, and it's a $300 million sci-fi movie, and I don't care if it ever fucking gets made. I'm writing a script, the movie I want to see, right? I don't give a shit, right?
Okay, yeah, yeah.
And so, but right, and then you have scripts like I get hired to write this Christmas Carol thing.
Right.
Now I have to first of all read this guy's information that he's come up with, because he came up with basically he kind of did what you do, Marcelo. He wrote the
Bible
prose
verse.
version of the story,
Yeah,
almost like the pitch material.
is it a
the pitch. Yeah.
futuristic version where it's like in space or something?
No, it's modern day.
Okay. It's like the
Oh,
Henry Winkler one where it's like American and
It's a
modern day.
modern day supernatural thriller.
huh.
Didn't they
Sort
did
of like, you
in
ever
the
seen
last
Lock
couple
and Key on Netflix? It's kind of
No.
like I don't know. Maybe that's probably the closest comparison I can think of
What
right now.
was the Sherlock? Not the Sherlock. I'm sorry. What was the Scrooge story they had on FX or something? It was like a really nasty version
Mm.
Hmm.
where like
I
the
don't know. They
opening
had so
shot is
many
of
of them.
Scrooge in the grave with like I don't know what's going on.
That's
One of the
weird.
fun things I did with that one, going back to how many performances of that damn story have been gone on. One of the characters in it, I named him after one of the first actors to ever play Scrooge in a movie. Can't remember right now because I've been
Alistair.
smoking too much. But yeah, so like little, I like throwing things in the, those little like, hey, you get, we find them all the time, and you guys have those Easter egg hunts and shit in shows, which those are
Yeah.
always fun.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, that idea of like, because that's one thing when I studied creative writing, but like finding creative writing jobs out of college was not very easy. So I ended up doing copywriting, and that I think to me is what helped me kind of understand that ability to sort of disconnect
Yeah.
and just, okay, this is the story, the guy with the money wants. This is the best way I can think of telling it. The most
Mhm.
fun way, the whatever, the most grim, dark. Like when I pitched that Star Wars, like when you're going back to what you mentioned earlier, PJ, about writing Star Trek, I used to like writing a lot of Star Trek when I was in high school, but lately, every time I see something of Star Wars that I cannot stand, I get this jolt of rewriting it and I turn it into something. Like that sci-fi movie I'm telling you about, the $300 million movie that never get made. That was born out of ideas I came up with for this Star Wars indie movie. And I said, shit, man, I love this fucking story. Like, how can I use this and just not make it Star Wars? Because I tried to convince the indie company, dude, screw making a Star Wars movie. If we're going to put this much time and effort into something, let's make it unique and our own, and hope it blows up into its own little Star Wars, rather than just like, what are we going to do? We can't make a dime off of this. Disney's not going to hire us no matter how good it is, That's not the way
Mm-mm.
things happen.
No.
and
It's not.
so and
For,
so it's yeah, it's interesting that like, so yeah, so like it's crazy writing those kind of things and then seeing projects fail too, like writing something cool and you're like, oh wow, it's moving forward, they're casting, and then that's it. This
Yeah.
actor can't do it, and then
Goodbye.
like, it's wild. So it's such a crazy, like, I tell all the film and TV industry people I talk to, I always make the joke, they're like, I'm surprised movies and shit get made at all.
Ever happen? Yeah.
Yeah, it's so chaotic, controlled chaos.
It's so impossible.
So many
Yeah.
moving parts. So many things that can go wrong. Opinions, people who can maybe throw in their own.
I had
Like for
Mhm.
instance, Blade Runner. The best line in Blade Runner, the whole "I've seen things you've never seen," tears in the rain, blah blah blah. That was all improvised. So
wasn't even in the
Yeah.
script.
go fucking figure.
Mm.
And I remember reading that. I haven't really gone back to confirm if this is true. Maybe somebody can tell us, or PJ or Marcelo. But I remember reading early on that the only thing that survived from the original script of Alien to the actual movie was the cat.
Uh,
That everything
yeah,
else,
I heard that.
like the pyramids were in it, like they were later on in Alien versus Predator, but that was taken out. Like all this crazy shit was taken out, and the movie like evolved to what we've seen. And that's, man,
They
that's,
had to do more with less, and that's what made it so
Yeah.
great at the
I
time.
mean, at the
Mm.
time and forever.
I
Jaws
had
in space.
I had a
Jaws in
delusional.
space.
I had a delusion when I was like young, 1998 to 99, when I moved to Ontario, and I didn't have very many friends, and at the time, anyway. And I started writing this thing over the winter.
Hmm.
Started in '98, finished in '99, and I called it "Killing Nostalgia." Now, I got the
I
name
love it
from
already.
a Bush song. I'm fucking young and stupid, so this is like a
Oh yeah.
testosterone, like ego-filled kind of like action schlock sci-fi fest, right? The premise is it's set in the year 3000. Uh, Humans are not on Earth anymore, right? They're but Earth is in danger from some species. I can't even remember. There were like weird, like fucked up, like names that I used, and there's like 17 main characters. It was like really fucking stupid. Uh, but actually, in fact, the main character's name was Braxton. who isn't here
Oh,
tonight. I
who?
don't know why didn't Braxton show up? It wasn't named after Braxton, our friend, but I like the name Braxton, right? So I'm like, oh, I'm gonna name and I can't even remember what the it was like Demon something. His name was Demons. It was like a demon, but it was like one I can't even remember. Like it's long gone. It doesn't even exist. I think one guy in high school has a copy named Yannick. He may still have it. But anyway, the premise is that I don't even know why they have to go back in time, but they have to go to Earth, which is like a different place now, but back in time to the current day, which is like 19 fucking. I said it in 99, even though it was like started because I love 1999. Like it's a cool thing, right? Back in the party like it's 1999. So anyway, there's these group of aliens, and their design is like they almost look like Venom, like really skin tall, thin,
Okay.
kind of like Venom looking kind of creatures, right? And they were just it was almost like a rip off of First Contact. Like aliens go back in time to Earth in the past to fuck shit up. An elite group of like 20-something-year-olds with seriously advanced technology, and the way the technology worked on these fighters, they could do anything. They were just like all Mary Sue's, right? Anyway, every one of them were experts in everything, linguistics, and I took my ideas from everything I could find. And they used to train in like a holodeck thing where like fucked up situations used to happen, right? As Starfleet Boys here, thanks for coming. Anyway, oh, it's Kylo Ren.
Oh.
Wow, objectifying.
Forget the past. Kill it if you have to.
Yes, killing the stone.
Let it die.
So
Sorry.
the title was like, oh, they're killing the aliens in the past who are trying to fuck up Earth, and that's like the whole premise. And the movie consists of scenes where like these aliens run amok, and it's seriously people who read it, friends who read it, back home. Like I used to read it over the phone to two people as I was reading it, and they got a kick out of it. Like this is sick and violent, there's sex, and it was like Game of Thrones times 10. Like it was stuff you never put on screen. It was like so
And in
gratuitous.
1999.
Game of Thrones in space.
One of the mercenaries, or one of the supposed good guys, who turns out to be a secret entity. There's a twist. He's a bad guy. He's working with the aliens. Oh, go figure. But he does things like in secret when he's on like present day Earth. He'll like go out on his own. Like some of the soldiers from the year 3000 go out and do funny things, like try to shop at a supermarket and like stupid shit, right? But this one guy goes out and he just like murders fuckers, like Predator style, just like hunts, and it's like it had no meaning. It was just so empty, and but it was just so violent and sexual that anybody who read it was like, well, at least I got a kick out of that stuff.
Hey man,
And
sometimes it doesn't have to have meaning.
It ends in a school cafetorium type thing where like everybody dies but like one or two people who aren't the main characters. It's very depressing and very dour and just cynical as fuck. And it would have literally cost like $500 million.
That sounds cool. I would.
There's
I
so
would,
much more
I would
to it
read
that I
that.
haven't told you about, but it was like 120 fucking pages. I printed it out one time, and like I said, this guy Yannick, who I went to school with, he's the only one who has that physical copy of it. And he's like, I like this.
I mean, that's another thing you gotta consider when you're writing scripts for people.
Page
You know?
count.
No, and their budget. How much
Yeah.
are you going to spend on this movie? 'Cause
Oh, I was a mentally ill teenager thinking like, I think there's a chance. I think there's, and I remember
nowadays the way the
one
budgets
friend,
are.
Kelly, one girl who's a doctor now. She's very smart and very discerning and intelligent person. She became a doctor, of course. She told me not only like about the budget and whatever. She's like nobody in their right mind would make this. Like she told me straight up, it's like it's amusing to read, but you have such an amount of sex and violence in here. Like that's straight out of
you know what you do
a
in that
teenage
case?
boy's fucking,
You
spank
wrote
there.
this as a script or like a story?
It was a script that had. It was just a stupid thing where
You know what that sounds like to me, my
aliens,
friend?
people from the year 3000, mercenaries, a group of like a huge cast of characters, a
That
funny
sounds like
one.
to me.
It was like the Seven Dwarfs.
I'm
A
serious about
dopey one,
this.
this funny one, and this one and that one. Right?
You need to turn that into a novel, because in a novel you have an unlimited budget, and then you let some producer read that novel and go, "I can figure out how to make this movie."
But they can't. But they can't. But in
Because if
reality,
somebody likes reading it, that means it could be a good novel, and you don't have to worry about the budget.
No.
Just saying.
if I revisited that concept, I would
Yeah,
have to
yeah. Because
rethink
like
it
something
because
like, imagine like if you were the guy who
that's
thought up of
schlocky.
Ready Player One, that movie's expensive in your head.
Mhm.
It's probably even more expensive. I never read the book, but it's probably even more expensive in the book. you know.
Yeah,
And
it's
so, but
Mm.
you go for it. That's what's the great thing about books, and that's what I love about comic books is that you get the visuals, and you can create a space battle for the same price as creating two people talking in
Yeah.
a. You're just paying an artist and telling him what to draw.
the only way I
So
learned how to actually write a screenplay was from first back in the '90s. My cousin was in a TV show, and I used to read his scripts, and one was uh, about a superintendent, a shitty superintendent or something. It was like very uninteresting, and he had like fucking 4 lines. That if he ever popped up in an episode, he was like just a troublemaking kid who was like with other kids who fuck shit up and then they run away. It was really stupid. It was called The Gullages. You can't find it. It was
it
on
sounds
YouTube at
like
one
a Dennis
point.
the Menace.
It was mainly about a cab driver, and they used to film it on 35 millimeter film. And he talk like he in the pilot episode, he has like a big line where he's like, "Yeah, you mess with me, I'm gonna get my dad down here and kick your fucking ass." Or I don't know if there was cursing. No, it wasn't cursing. They were allowed to say shit and stuff like that. But he's like, "I'm gonna get my dad to come down and kick your arse." That's what he said, arse, right? And we were like, "Oh my god, that's a family member in the show." Blah blah blah. So cool. But that was the first time I ever saw script structure in like a TV form,
Mm-hmm.
like interior, exterior description, and then the
Right,
lines,
right.
like the way that
Scene
was structured.
headings, action blocks.
And then a friend of mine got a copy of a script for a show called Hatching, Matching, and Dispatching. And Mark McKinney, it was a really bad show.
Jesus, what is?
Can I tell you what? This is good. This is a racially sensitive thing, so I'm going to trigger warning for anybody. But this is a real thing in our society, my Newfoundland society, that I can only speak of for my own family's sake or whatever. In the show, in the script that I got, there's an old woman character who explains to other people in the scene that Chinese is not plural, is not the singular of Chinese. And like I don't know if it's an Irish thing or what, a European thing or what, but there was an actual misconception that one Chinese person was a Chinese, and that Chinese was multiple Chinese people.
Right,
You know what I
Chinese
mean?
was plural of China, Chinese.
And that was in the script, and I actually saw the episode, and this is like back in the day, like the stuff that the show could be canceled for in just the script form. Like you're like, even back in the day, I'm like, oh my god, that's kind of offensive, but that's an actual real thing in our society that people like they don't say it right. Like it's like a cultural, there's a cultural barrier there that they don't quite get. Even just talking about it, I'm scared. I'm like, but it was in an actual script of a show called Hatching Match. You can probably look it up on
Hatching,
YouTube. I think
Matching.
that's one of the shows you
What
could
was it?
find.
Hatching, matching, and what? Catching?
Hatching, Matching, and Dispatching.
Dispatching.
You might be able to find that one. That one was a little more popular, but a friend of mine got that from Mark McKinney. He's the guy from Kids in the Hall,
Mm-hmm.
which in itself is a controversial. You watch the early episodes of that show.
Yeah, I
dude.
used to love Kids in the Hall.
Fuck, you'd never get away with that in network or any kind of like sponsored television now at all. And then I looked at so I looked at first TV scripts, and then when I got access to the internet, I found Star Trek Generations, the screenplay, and I've read that, and that was the first movie screenplay I actually printed out and read like a book. And it was cool because it included scenes that weren't in the movie. I was like, oh, deleted scenes.
Awesome.
There's
Yes,
more
it
to
is.
there's more to after Kirk dies. You see Worf, and like a shuttle comes down and Worf's there, and There's some dialogue, but
Yeah, that's the funny thing too, because there's different versions of scripts for movies. Because there's always a final script once the movie's sort of done, but then there's like working scripts and shooting scripts and like all sorts of different little versions that you can get that have like slightly different scenes and stuff.
Starfleet Boy is here, but he's not saying anything.
Oh, thank God.
What's happened to him?
It's because I was cleaning.
Has our racially charged conversation turned him off to the channel?
It's because I was
Oh,
cleaning like this
Chinese.
wine. I'm what? What am I?
No, nothing.
There's an old cultural misconception where I come from that they addressed in a TV show that was made here about like an old lady is explaining to like some ignorant people that you don't say Chinese because it's not the singular of Chinese. Because people actually thought that for real in society here.
I'm
Even
sorry, I'm
like
trying
my
not to laugh,
mother and
but
my
it's-
grandmother, I've heard them say that word. I'm like, what what? And then the show actually, the script, when I got the script, I was like, oh, this is before the show was out, right? Like he had just filmed it.
What
Or,
shows? Is this the one that
Mark
what's his
McKinney
face?
from Kids in the Hall.
Bro,
he was
hatching,
in-
matching, and
he-
dispatching. You never seen that show? It's dope.
No, I don't think so.
it
I
was
love
a
the
I only
show.
watch Star. You guys
It's
don't
a-
understand. I only watch
It's
Star
not a
Trek.
good show. For the shows that were produced here back in the day, they tried so hard to make shows here, and they always had this like absurd kind of like edge to them. Like it dealt with like gay culture and like not so much racial stuff, but like cultural divide between us and the rest of the world or Canada and all this stuff. Never really worked out.
I was quiet because I got into a tweet hole. No, it was like it's like a tweet, like a rabbit hole, but it was like a tweet hole.
Down the tweet hole.
What,
we
what
went.
was the tweet hole of where you can't share?
No, it's just not.
Do you
It's
have a
just
picture
our
of this
our
tweet
friend.
hole?
I think you guys know Paul Sutherland.
Oh, yeah,
God.
I've seen
Oh,
that name.
What happened? Did you hurt his feelings?
No, it was just like he was just posting a picture of himself in the pool and people were talking about it. That's all.
Oh, is he showing stuff or something? What's the big
Do you
deal?
mean to say? Are you asking if he's like Kylo Ren here in this picture?
Yeah,
Or
because
but like from the waist down.
I'm just saying that because people are pretty.
You
liberal
can't
on
share
Twitter.
that. Oh yeah, you could share that on Twitter. Never mind.
Can you?
Twitter
Can you?
allows
Really?
just like
Yeah.
whatever, you know?
Twitter has no. There's a weird thin barrier. Twitter's remarkable in that sense because I have two accounts and one of the accounts just constantly it's like unfiltered and I guess I liked a couple of these like sassy pictures
Oh boy.
and so I get like the sassiest pictures over there.
It's
But then on
not
Starfleet Boy, I never
nice,
get
it's
any
not
sassy
appropriate.
pictures except for
haven't-
Sean Farrick. I get
I
Sean
have,
Farrick's.
I have another
sassy-
account called
sassy
Dolphin
pictures.
Girl. That's a half dolphin, half girl who tweets, and every time I tweet with her,
Guys,
it's just
I
I just put a bunch of E's, different capitalized and lowercase.
Oh,
I'm
wow.
here because because I
Talk
heard some
about
like
lower
really
decks.
well I heard some scary news that like everything's gonna get like canceled and we're not gonna have any TV on
Yep.
HBO Max.
Everything.
Oh, I
Including
would
the
no.
second season of Game of Thrones or House of Dragons that just got
Approved.
No, they,
All right.
they approved.
That's not true.
Oh, okay. What's going on? You gotta
What-
fill me in here.
Everybody who says this, I want them to answer me this. What are you afraid of that's going to be canceled? And I'll tell you if it's going to be canceled or not.
I can't
so
speak
far
for
it's
everyone, but
just-
I could tell you what I'm afraid of getting canceled.
So
Right.
far, it's Batgirl and a bunch of children's shows and that Batman cartoon, right? Well, that one's being
It's
shopped
horrifying to me.
The Cape
It's-
Crusader. Yeah.
Can I say something controversial on your show, PJ? I know what I can say on my show, but can I say something really
What is
controversial?
it?
It's horrifying to me that they're destroying a film. To me, that's akin to book burning. Like, I don't care what your tax break is. Like, why would you destroy like a film? Like, just shelve it. You know, like release it later. Direct to video. It seems so anti. I don't know. What is it? It's so bizarre.
I'm
Well,
on the.
you
This
have to
is
see
just
it
a
to-
building hype train.
What are we hyping towards?
They're gonna release it. They're just using all this publicity to hype it, to get
Oh,
fans
okay.
going. You know, hashtag Let Batgirl Fly or whatever, and you know,
Oh,
and start a
wow.
whole move thing. And then they go okay when they.
I
Have
do like that,
'cause,
actually.
why screen
Let
it for
Batgirl
anyone?
fly. I'm gonna tweet that.
If you're seriously gonna just destroy the movie and get rid of it from existence, why screen it for anyone?
I heard, and I'm
no,
I'm
they were-
speaking completely not for. I haven't read any articles. I'm totally out of the loop on this, but I've heard things today, just out there. I kind of did a little.
Listen, follow Geek and Review. It's like the Oracle.
I do follow him, but YouTube suppresses
like-
him. The YouTube algorithm
His
doesn't show
mind
me
is
any of
too
his
powerful
videos.
for YouTube.
Yeah.
Why
He's like
isn't
the Oracle.
Geek and Review just on here telling
So
us
what,
everything?
what's your beef about HBO Max canceling stuff? Is it
So
just
then
Batgirl, or
I
is it
just got
anything else?
into House of Dragons, and I want to know if
That's not
gonna
going
get-
anywhere.
Dude.
I want more.
Season 2. Car just renewed today.
You know.
Oh, really?
You know what,
Okay.
Yeah.
You know what these streaming services look at more than anything? Actually, if you watch Barry, it makes fun of this perfectly. The algorithm.
Mm-hmm.
Trust in the algorithm. If people
I try to
are,
confound that algorithm.
if people are flocking to it and it's crashing, like it crashed Crave in Canada where it streams House of the Dragon. It crashed
Wow.
HBO Max in the United States.
It did? We saw it
They-
clearly.
Pe-
No, it was
people
blurry a
people
little
get-
bit.
People get angry over that and say, "Yeah, HBO Max, blah blah blah." HBO Max is like, "Oh, this is cool.
Oh yeah, I'm a broadcast baby.
We
I'm
can't handle
spoiled.
the popularity of a show. That's a good sign."
Broadcast never
that
had
that show
a
was
failure
definitely
unless
good.
there was a solar flare. Remember when there was a solar flare? Sometimes the static would appear on your broadcast.
And you see
but
that like face for a second.
yeah, that weird demon face.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that,
Do you remember the?
I learned
the
later his name was
Mandalorian?
Gorlock,
Gorlock.
master of flesh eating.
Do you remember when the Mandalorian first started streaming? The first episode,
It blew my
Especially-
mind.
but
Mine
even
too,
when you
bro.
got to the second and third episode, it was still having problems. Like you would have to try over and
No.
over again to get it.
No, we have this fiber thing here, and usually we get
No,
we
that,
get
that was
great.
Just, it was just for the premiere of because
Oh.
Disney Plus was still kind of new, and then everybody jumped on the Mandalorian as soon as it came out, and then it was like. I had a
I
problem
experienced
watching it.
no streaming problems, but I remember. Yeah, I think
You'll
it
see it all over
crashed.
Twitter though when it happens.
Yeah, yeah. And we use this thing called down detector, and it often tells you. But anyways, but the thing is that Mandalorian was a paradigm shift for me in viewing. As a viewer, I was just like, oh, this is the kind of stuff I really want to tune into.
Do you want to talk about Lower Decks?
Yes, I talked about it a lot already. I talked about it twice, but I don't mind. I'll talk about it again.
Star Trek Lower Decks Season 3 Episode 1 Grounded Discussion Spoilers.
Oh wow!
Starfleet Boy Go!
Wow, yeah.
Go,
just-
dance, monkey, dance!
He had
Sorry.
that
I don't
shit
like.
ready to
I
go,
don't
bro.
know how any of you guys feel. I'm
Bro.
doing a stream tomorrow.
What do you mean you don't know
tell
how
us about your
anybody
sex
feels? You
life.
know how I feel.
No,
told
I know
you
how
about it
Marcelo feels. Yeah,
I
but
don't want to
like,
hear about your sex life, bro.
But I just want to know. I have a question before I tell you how I feel about it. Ruben, have you seen this episode?
No,
And are you caught up? Are you not watching Lower Decks? Okay, okay.
no.
Then I
no,
won't.
it's all-
I won't address you, sir. I won't address you. But
I
everyone
agree
else
with-
has seen.
I
it.
agree with Geek and Review's review.
Okay, I'll address him if he states his cases in the audience. But to me, this personally was my favorite episode of Star Trek Lower Decks in the whole entire run of the series so far.
Awesome.
That being said, I say so far because the series is still running, so I don't have the benefit of saying it's the best episode of the series. But so far, I've enjoyed this the most. I keep laughing and laughing. The jokes, the gags, just like are so delightful. The in jokes or the in references even and reverences I should say as well are all
Yes,
just are all spot on as far as like what I'm looking for in terms of both callbacks and new information about the world of Star Trek. So yeah, it was fucking rad and it was fun and the characters are growing. Like this was something that we talked about way in the beginning when Lower Decks came out. It's like, how would we see character growth? You know, and Mariner breaks down in this one scene and it was pretty powerful for me as a Lower Decks viewer since I've watched like 2 seasons, so I have a lot invested in the show. I'm not just like, you know, tuning in casually like Ruben would be, but I said I wouldn't address you. I'm sorry, I apologize. But anyways, like, I'm so
said
sorry.
nothing.
So
I even
sorry.
said cool.
So sorry. So
I'm
sorry.
happy
So
this
sorry.
ain't better.
So sorry. I couldn't resist the jab button. It was
Now I'm gonna
blinking.
watch the whole thing and trash it all.
the jab button was blinking. I'm so sorry. I'm so
Can't help
sorry.
me, can't help me. That's,
I
what,
could
that's
not-
what brothers do, man.
But anyways, it was a profoundly moving but also deeply funny episode, and I needed that today. It got me through just thinking about the gags made me laugh and chuckle throughout the day, and I love that. So lower decks, lower decks, lower decks. That's it. That's my thing.
So I like that Ruben's here because I want to explain to him where we are in the show.
All right.
And I want to get you into this show because I think it's worth checking out. It's just if you don't take it seriously and you just kind of like absorb it, you'll grow. You may grow to love some of these characters, and you don't think about Trek continuity too much and like how it would translate into live action. And you get into a big rabbit hole there. But if you take it as a
Do people bitch about the show fucking with continuity?
Well, it honors continuity in a way that some other live action Treks haven't achieved.
It seemed, I mean, the people making the show, when I discover things, whether it's revealed online or through the behind the scenes or just like through conversation, I'm like, wow, these people know Star Trek better than I do. Like they're like keeping in continuity. They're like trying their hardest to stay in continuity, but it all works really beautifully. Like there's this in this episode, there's this like theme experience. I call it a theme park, but I think future people, like people in the late 24th century,
well, hold on.
would probably.
Let's.
I'm
get
gonna
this
watch.
set up.
I'm gonna watch it in secret and just make references every once in a while. And you be like, what?
No, just Ruben. The setup is last season. Their captain is accused of a crime she didn't commit, so she's on trial. So this opens up with the lower decks crew, the captain's daughter Mariner, like going on a rogue mission to get logs that are on the Cerritos, which is like behind the moon somewhere. So they have to get up there somehow, but they can't because there's this event happening that's blocking the transporters or something. You know, an excuse for them. So they go to this theme park, which is based on First Contact. So it's like James Cromwell is on the speaker, like "Welcome to First Contact Land" or whatever it's called. I've only seen it once.
This is the new episode you're talking about.
This
right?
is the new episode.
Okay, Grounded, I think it's called, right?
And you're like, what are they
The
doing?
greatest episode so far. This is the greatest episode so far. That's how it's
Star
referred
Trek
to.
ever?
At first
No,
you're-
of Lower Decks. I'll say of
first-
Lower Decks.
At first, you're wondering why are they there or whatever.
Okay.
But you see little things like you see the Vulcan ship that's like now like a playground. They've retrofitted it as like a place you can just go in and play around.
Okay.
And it's like a theme park, right? It's like and it has the ship. What is it? The Phoenix, and the crew needs to use the Phoenix to go up because you can go up in rides, right?
It's a ride it's whatever a 24th century theme park. It's a ride, but like the cool thing about it is that like we would go and we would be in a simulator, and the theme of the ride is to experience the first as a
warp.
warp, right? So, but this is actually going to warp. It's a Phoenix replica ride. It like kit out, like it's modified to be a ride, so it can carry like
It's
more
a practical
people.
ride in the universe.
Yeah.
that you can actually do.
Exactly. That's a great way to put it. A practical ride. So like you actually can experience warp flight as a tourist to Bozeman, Montana, and like it's totally feasible as far as I'm concerned. Like in universe, like there would be this in universe. Like that is something
Yeah,
like that.
But
Like
James Cromwell is the pilot. And,
yes,
like,
it's
the
hologram.
guest.
It's a hologram. Yeah,
It's a
it's true.
hologram of James Cromwell. It's like, that's the type of fan
And you
service and comedy
know-
that I appreciate because Lower Decks can get down this rabbit hole of just name dropping this, that, the other thing. It like means nothing to the story, but this actually was part of the story. You know what I mean? It was like
Right.
it was
In my head
it was
canon-
reminiscent of Star Trek 3. But can I just get to the whole joke? of
Wait,
the
I want
episode?
I want to say one real quick thing about my headcanon. In my headcanon, both Geordi and Riker, as kids, rode that ride, and so that's why they were so like insanely chuffed, as well as Barkley and a lot of other
Barkley,
people.
yeah.
Yeah, that's why they were so insanely chuffed, but they don't realize that the ride was probably inspired by the fact that they went back and were able to tell in such great detail. Like, oh wait, I don't know how long that ride's been around, so no, I take it back. But I assume it's been there for a while. It seemed like it's been there for a
Who
while.
knows?
Yeah, sorry. I take back my good idea.
But the whole thing is that they get to the ship, and then there's this event that happens on the ship with organisms reproducing on the ship that gets them in all kinds of trouble. And these officers come on like, "You supposed to be here?" And anyway, they're about to get like found out, I guess. And then Captain Freeman comes aboard, and she's like, what are you guys doing? Like she's freaking out, and like we're trying to save you, Mom, right? And then Captain Freeman goes into this very elaborate, like movie level kind of plot about what happened to her, her trial, uncovered a Pac-led conspiracy, brought down a society, like this epic tale she tells in like a minute. And it's like this is you had to trust in the system basically. Mariner just had to trust that the courts would figure out that Freeman wasn't responsible. She was framed, and that things would work themselves out. And it was like this epic story that was going on, because it's lower decks, right? Like you're not supposed. Sometimes the joke in the show is that the the bridge officers have this thing that happens that you don't quite know about, and it's like sometimes the lower deckers get like bits and pieces of it, but it's a good show, man. It's a good show. I like it. It's quite good. And it feels like it's really in its own element now. Like it starts off better than the first season did. It starts off better than
How
the
many
second
episodes
season
does it
did.
have now? How many episodes?
Every
does the
season
have?
has 10 episodes.
Yeah, and it's like it's one of these, to me, it's the one modern Trek thing where it's like it's a no-brainer to give this as many seasons as you can.
The other thing
Well,
is
it's cheap, too.
the other thing is somehow the this show I feel the most engaged in as a Star Trek fan in general. Like I love Picard and I feel the most engaged. I take it back. I'm most engaged in Picard, but in terms of like options of like being engaged, like Lower Decks just gives you so many different avenues of being engaged. Like they do a shirt kind of subscription service, so every season you can get a shirt that like matches the theme of the episode. So this this shirt has the Phoenix on it, and it's like it's I forget what it says, but it's something about the Bozeman experience or whatever. And like I'm just so excited. I'm only gonna have Star Trek shirts. Like I have to get rid of everything else because I already after this season I'll have 33 because you get 11 shirts a season. You get a bonus if you do the subscription. So every season I've had the subscription because I do enjoy the show.
Do you get advanced episodes? Do you see?
No, I am not a screener person. I was so like, and I'm actually really happy about that because it would be easier. I don't really do reviews, so I don't think I would like need need
You have
any
no
kind of
idea
like.
when this DS9 episode is going to happen, do you?
No, I have no idea, but I have a clue from like things I've seen online. But yeah, I think it might be episode 6.
Oh fuck, Jesus! I want to see that one. Like, I want to see who's there, who they get, because they can bring back anybody and do the voice. Besides obvious people,
But I think for me, like as far as the things that I enjoy in life personally, like the reason why Lower Decks I think is so delightful to me is because I did enjoy The Simpsons. I was like definitely a Simpsons since like whatever when it first came on air. Like we watched it as a family. Like we
Yeah,
watched
on
many
account,
of what's there was just like it was part of like a fun thing that you could do with your family, but it was also edgy and like sometimes downright rude, or even like like The Simpsons went to like really great deep places, but it was always funny as well. And like a lot of people dismiss it as like lowbrow or whatever, and like Lower Decks gives me the same vibe. And what's more perfect about it is that like it's Star Trek, so like I don't have to go anywhere else to get that kind of like experience. I'm in my favorite universe already, like so I
I
love
think
Lower Decks because it's giving me a lot of like fun things about Star Trek that like I feel like as fans we all kind of like thought of these parody, and parodying Star Trek is something like others have been doing well and poorly, but now Star Trek's doing it, and I love that it does it well. It does it well for itself. These guys are real true lovers of Star Trek.
I'm fascinated by the idea with not only with the DS9 episode, but this idea that in season 2 of Strange New Worlds, Boimler and Mariner will be on the Enterprise live action somehow. 2 different time periods, 2 completely different time periods, so time travel is obviously involved. By the way,
Like any good Trek show.
just to do a little sidetrack into Picard season 3, there will be no time travel at all, and I was like, "Fuck yes,
Ooh.
America!"
I want to see
girl.
Baby Riker, Baby Troy.
Oh no, No.
It should be like a Muppet Baby. It should be
Can-
Muppet Babies, but
Listen,
with the original cast.
I got
PJ
I got some juicy
Muppet
information.
Babies,
You will
that's
see
funny.
5 enterprises, and time travel is not involved.
PJ, can I give you a can I
5
give you a
enterprises.
can I give you a wild speculation theory crafting thing that I have for Star
I'm
Trek?
saying facts. You say your theories, my friend.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
joking.
I wanna say,
He's spitting
like,
facts.
like, here's the scoop on my theories that I have so far. I think that the Enterprise D was salvaged, the saucer section, obviously, from Viridian 3. And it was discovered that there was a kind of, not like quite sentient, but like a nascent kind of sentience in the computer, and that it was like, it was worth preserving. So one thing that I'd love to see is that like there's like a holodeck, and that's how you interact with it, and maybe Tasha is the computer represented, like how it interfaces and interacts with others is that it uses the image of Tasha. Tasha.
I'm just gonna say I won't put up the banner because I don't have one. That potential Picard spoilers because
Yeah. Well, where's theory
well,
crafting?
actually straight up because Denise Crosby is in season 3 of Picard. In what capacity we don't quite know.
Tasha, the computer, the Enterprise computer.
Hey,
Tasha.
Tasha.
Tasha. Isn't it Tasha? How do you guys
Earl
pronounce?
Grey, please?
How
Isn't it
come ours-
Tasha Yar?
It's Tasha. Tasha.
Tasha.
Listen how.
Tasha, yeah.
Can I pull up? Can I play a clip of how
No,
Jean-Luc
you can't
says
play
it?
No.
This is Tasha.
Tasha.
Play no
Tasha.
CBS clips.
Like Tasha.
Here's another juicy little tidbit.
I
About
think
Picard
Q brings her
season
back
3, folks.
as an undead queen.
Nobody wants to hear the juicy tidbits.
and she
Damn.
and she raises
This is
a
some
zombie
fucking
army.
juicy stuff.
I want to hear the juicy tidbits. Come on.
I'm down. I'm down.
For anybody expecting a visit to Deep Space Nine, that is not going to happen.
What?
However,
Oh, in Picard. Okay.
However, besides the multiple enterprises that you're going to see in whatever capacity you see them in, I don't quite know. 5 enterprises. I repeat, 5. So what would that be? Like the original A, B, C, D, E? Maybe? Well, that's 6. Fuck. I don't know. But whatever's going on, the Enterprise D...
The
is
A
confirmed.
was decommissioned, so it's still around. The B may also have been decommissioned, so it may still be around.
But it
The C was
revealed-
lost,
it was
so that
revealed-
one...
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No. I was going to say the D was revealed today or yesterday, I should say. at
Right,
Star
there was
Trek
like
Las
a...
Vegas. Like they actually built
exactly.
the bridge of the D for Picard season 3.
Right, and we knew that because I think LeVar Burton and maybe Patrick Stewart maybe suggested just as much, because they were all referencing how like, oh, I forgot there was carpet on the, and I knew there was carpet. There's like carpet was a big thing on the D, but anyways, the C was lost, so it wouldn't be around. The D,
It's about family, bro.
the D could have been salvaged, so its saucer section could be around, and then the E, and then the E would definitely could be around as well and decommissioned or something, and it's possible that we're in the time of the F, so that's 6 ships
Yeah. it's,
without time travel.
And
That's
there's plenty of letters left in the alphabet.
there is
Time
it's
travel
like-
doesn't mean you can't have flashbacks.
right. Also, that's true. Flashbacks can happen, and I like flashbacks.
That
dig
would,
that.
You know what? That would almost be cooler if they could pull off like the digital fakes of them as younger selves in a brief
Yeah.
scene. They could do it. I've seen YouTubers do it. Fucking
In like
goddamn-
a Game of Thrones like
goddamn
scene
Unreal
with,
Engine
like,
5.
Picard pounding Riker. Oh, it's like Game of Thrones.
What?
I'm sorry,
Don't do
number
this
one.
to me.
I'm pushing rope, number one, but I
Don't
I
put
just
these
have too much
images
on
in my
mind.
brain.
Pushing
Don't
rope.
put these. Please don't put that image in my brain
I have
ever
the word
again.
pushing rope back into the show.
There's only
late.
Jean-Luc and Beverly, and we don't ever see, like, the camera always
I don't know,
pulls
man.
away or
Uh,
cuts away, or
You
the,
know,
Here's
I
the,
think
The
people are
sensors-
open, liberated in that
Here's
time.
another-
It's all
here's
good.
another juicy tidbit for you
hole is a
all
hole.
of you guys.
all right, all
You wanna
right.
A
hear
wet
it.
hole is a wet hole.
Okay, we got to get out of this mindset.
I love that Geek and Review said Picard season 3 is about family. I feel like these 3 seasons of
about
Picard
family.
have like beautifully paralleled the best things about TNG. In the sense that,
We need to have a
like,
conversation about that.
Oh my
in
God.
the sense that like
Oh my god,
all,
really?
all 3 seasons seem to reflect some aspect of not just the whole entire run of TNG, but also in particular the sort of like the profound ending that is All Good Things. Like I feel like these 3 seasons are all going to be they're going to be viewed as deconstructions of All Good Things. Watch. Promise. Like there's going to be I might even have to write this course like at Harvard. There might be a course at Harvard about Star Trek Picard and how profound it is for
Here's-
TV.
I think it's already being taught.
Here's another top 40 hit. The show, the season opens. I know how the season starts. Like I know the first shot, the first person you see on camera.
I don't want to know. Can I go away and then you'll
It's
tell me
Beth
when to come
Beverly.
back?
And she
Wait.
she is somehow essential to like what
Can I
goes
go
on in
away?
the story.
Can I leave and then come back?
Oh, never mind. I'll stop.
Yeah, I don't
Can
want to know.
Can I spoil
That's
something
too
else?
Oh,
Can I
I
spoil
wanna
a
know.
really can I spoil
I
a
don't
crappy
care.
movie?
A crap
Sure.
movie? Which movie?
It's a good crap movie. It's a good crap.
Okay,
um,
which?
There's a movie that Sylvester Stallone did called Samaritan
Samaritan.
that was supposed to be released in theaters. So they didn't because they saw it and they said, no, we can't. That's impossible. So they put it straight on Amazon because they said, this is an okay TV movie. And this is how it should be presented. And that makes sense. But I guess they shot for a PG-13 because this could have been Rambo level kind of good in terms of like schlockfest violence, because when Sly Stallone, the basic premise is some kids getting bullied, right? And there's a legend of 2 superheroes, twin brothers, right? One was called Samaritan and one was called Nemesis, and presumably Sylvester Stallone is played by both of them, but they're in masks in the flashback, so they don't have to do de-aging. So one of them dies, and then it's said that the guy who survived eventually died too. So Nemesis and Samaritan are apparently dead, right? And they're like living legends. So this kid's getting like bullied by gangsters, like getting the shit kicked out of him. But it's all PG-13. You barely see any blood. You see people get like really fucked up, and like if it was like The Boys, it would be like very gory. You know what I mean? Like, but it's sanitized, kind of like brutal violence. Like Sylvester Stallone is fucking people up unnecessarily. Like he grabs like 2 guys and just throws them, and probably realistically would have broken their spines, but they're all right in a few seconds. It's one of those fucking movies, right? So the kid's like, "Oh my god, you're Samaritan. You're that old superhero, but you're like..." He's like, "No, I'm just a garbage man. Leave me alone." So anyway, the shit gets worse for the kid and his mother, who's a single mother, and she's struggling and all this. Anyway, so he gets more and more involved to the point where the main villain is some guy from Game of Thrones, and he's the shittiest villain ever. He says the hokiest stuff, like he wants to be Nemesis, right? He believes Samaritan is out there somewhere, and he wants to be Nemesis, and he's got like some stupid hammer that can defeat him or something, defeat Samaritan. And he's like, I'm gonna finish what Nemesis couldn't. I'm gonna kill Samaritan, because he finds out about Sly Stallone, the kid, and all this. And the kid was a part of the guy's gang, and he kidnaps the kid to get Samaritan like to go berserker. So all of the good action stuff is there. It's like the core elements of schlock, good fucking entertainment is there. It's just like, this is Formula 101. You know what I mean? Like, it's so you can see it. But I was stupid because I didn't see the twist. The final fight between the guy who's pretending he's Nemesis, he says some schlocky shit like, "It's time for me to kill the good guy," and he puts down the hammer, and Sly Stallone catches the hammer. Right? He goes, "You keep calling me the good guy. I'm the bad guy." And then the villain's like, "Oh, your nemesis." Duh, duh, duh. It's like he wasn't Samaritan. He was Nemesis the whole time. And the one who died wasn't Nemesis. It was Samaritan, but it was so vague in the flashback you didn't know. And it's like, oh, that's the twist. And then in the flashback, right? Nemesis, like the younger version of Sly Stallone, Nemesis takes off his helmet after he kills his brother. And it is, by God, PlayStation 3 shit. Graphics that you could have just hired some dude using Unreal Engine on fucking YouTube and he would have done 10 times a better job than this cartoony, like, worse than Tarkin in Rogue One bullshit. And it's like, I can see how executives were like, no, this is not a theater.
More people need to hire the corridor crew.
But man, that twist where he's like, "You keep calling me the bad guy." Yeah, man, what's like? No, it's "You keep calling me the good guy. I'm actually the bad guy." Leave me alone, kid. I'm just a garbage man taking out the trash.
You know, weirdly enough, I was thinking about watching that film tonight, but you know, your description made me ask, you know what? I'll just sit back and watch the hilarity. It's like,
You can watch it in that sense where, like, I mean, you can see everything coming. You can see every corner the movie's gonna go around. There's some surprises. Like I felt stupid for not catching on to the fact that maybe he's not Samaritan, he's actually the brother. But
yeah, maybe not.
I never caught on to that.
Right, just assume the good guy won.
But man, I laughed. I laughed out loud. Like when he says that. I went and saw the Terminator 3D a couple of years ago, and there's about 8 people in there. Like nobody's seen this shit. I was like, I was expecting like people are gonna want to see this, but no. Great in 3D. It's kind of like touched up effects here and there, like face replacement for the stunt people, so that it looks like the actual actors and stuff are in certain shots. Little things, nothing like George Lucas level. Anyway, there's a part where Terminator calls the foster parents' house. He's in the kid's voice, like, "Yeah, I'm just wondering about Sparky." He says the wrong name of the dog.
Right.
And then the woman says, "Yeah, Sparky's fine." And he hangs up the phone. He's like, "Your foster parents are dead."
Dead, yeah. I love that scene.
I was eating pop. I burst out loud. I was choked. I burst out laughing because I just didn't expect to laugh at it for whatever reason. Your foster parents are dead.
I love it. He says it so like just dry.
And it caused a chain reaction of like the other people in the theater to start like laughing at me, laughing at it. I was like, this is a moment. Your foster parents are dead. Ah, that's funny. It's so cruel.
Yeah,
I think that's what was comical about it. Like my laughter was, excuse me, cruel.
I might actually go see Jaws. That's playing right now.
Mandibulas.
In IMAX and in my local IMAX, so I might go see that. And also, E.T. is playing, and I've never seen those 2 films on the big screen, so I might.
You know what's funny?
PJ, oh, go ahead.
Those kind of things rarely don't screen here, but the E.T. and the Jaws thing, the Star Trek stuff never does. Never does. And I don't understand it. I've checked the shows. They have these shows for different things, like operas and stuff, that never sell any ticket. You never see the ticket. Like, I just go in for curiosity's sake. I'm like, why does the theater keep booking these things that nobody goes to see? Nobody's going to see Jaws.
The opera stuff is funded by the National Trust. That's why. That's why they get releases. I go to those. I go to the opera shit.
It was just like the Terminator 2 thing. I was like, I was expecting something, but like nobody was there. In comparison to like the theater size, anyway.
Yeah, so I might go do that next week, possibly.
Talk about Clerks 3 for a second.
Yes, I love Clerks 3, man. Let's talk about all night. Come on, View Askew Universe. I'm here for it.
I got to see the first 2 clips that were released. The first one, like I said, is Amy Sedaris. She's the mechanic from Mandalorian. with the goofy
Uh-huh.
robots.
Mhm.
She's dressed as a witch, and she's literally going, "I'm the doctor," ha ha ha. And it sounds really stupid to describe it, but it's played very well in the scene. It's like so weird and awkward. And Randall's like, "You're the doctor? Like you seem like an insane person." You know what I mean? And she's like, she's basically saying what Kevin Smith said. The doctor said to him, "It's like you're having a massive heart attack right now. You think you just can't catch your breath, but you know you could die. So we got to get moving."
Yeah.
Anyway, that's the scene. Then they released another clip of the guys trying to come up with ideas for the Clerks movie that they're going to make in the movie. And Dante says, "Yeah, we should put in this part and this part and this part from Clerks that happened, right?" And
Yeah.
he said, "You should put in that stuff about the Death Star." And he's like, "Fuck that," and get sued by Disney? No.
No way. Yeah. That was in the trailer, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was in the trailer, but
Yeah,
there's a
that was in the
longer
trailer.
conversation.
Yeah.
What's the kid's name from the second one?
Uh God, I can't. My memory's shot right now. I
It's
can't
Dante
remember.
Randall.
Um.
Eli? Is it Eli?
Yeah, Eli. I think it's Eli.
Yeah. Eli's back,
Yeah.
but he's like all goth now or something. I don't know.
Cool. No, I can't wait to watch, you know, Clerks 1 and 2 and 3 with you eventually on my channel. I think I just buried the lead there, but we'll
But they're
we're gonna
playing
do
it.
that.
They're playing it on the 21st and 25th,
Oh, cool.
and it's like the movie comes out on the 13th or 14th or something.
Of
It takes a really long time for the local theater to get like sufficient dates for anything. Like, you
okay.
gotta wait like a week before. It's like
Mhm.
like they'll have listings for a movie on scattered days, and it doesn't make any sense because the movie opens earlier than the days that you're the two completely random days that you're putting like these certain screening. Like it's so frustrating. It's Cineplex in Canada, and it's like one of the it's you know what it's like. It's like a bad app. Like an app where like it's run by college students or something. I don't know.
Do you
I don't
know
what's going on.
do you know if Clerks is gonna do the 90-day window thing or like the 45-day window thing?
Well, I know in Canada that Kevin Smith movies tend to go on Prime like a month later. A Jane Silent Bob reboot. I saw that and it was like a few weeks and it was like they're on Prime. And that's
Okay.
part of that. Part of the fact that I think his movies will get moved to streaming faster is because his movies don't do box office. His movies are not profitable.
Yeah, no, because I remember going to see Tusk and I was like it was me and like two other people and that was it. What? Like I was, not to move away from Clerks, but yeah, I
I
could
just
totally
turned
see
off
how
the
it's-
movie and listened to the Fleetwood Mac song and danced around. Dun, 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 dun,
Yeah,
dun,
but I was, not to take, focus away from your stream, but I was thinking we could actually sit down and do Clerks 1, 2, and 3 when they're already on
streaming.
streaming,
Yeah,
so we could
like
actually watch the movies.
Prime in Canada now has always had like Chasing Amy, Jersey Girl.
Right.
You will never find Dogma in any streaming service. You will only find it for free on YouTube.
No, but
For
I
I
haven't seen
reason.
those movies in years. I got to rewatch them.
actually
Can I
if I so I'm sorry, PG, go ahead.
No, I just want to say about the Clerks. I mean the Kevin Smith commentaries you can also find on YouTube as well, or it's just the movie and it's just the commentary track. Someone
Oh, that's cool.
whoever uploaded the Dogma commentary and other commentaries for Kevin Smith movies, any reference, even like the slightest reference to Weinstein or Harvey himself, is bleeped out. It's like muted. And there's these points in
Really?
the commentary where they're clearly mentioning him, or they're talking about like the producer element of it, and he produced the films, and they do talk about him from time to time on these commentaries, and then they'll mute his name or what's said about him, and it's like,
Wow.
that's a weird choice.
But why would you do that?
I
Because
mean,
Harvey
I
Weinstein.
understand he's a piece of
Yeah.
fucking shit. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it's like
It's
to go
like,
through
I
the
think-
trouble of going through the whole commentary and muting all instances of the man's name. Like, that's not going to make people forget what he did. I don't understand that. I don't understand.
I think that like the thing that we have to just kind of remember is that, you know, there's, whether you like it or not, I think through the like throughout recorded history, there's always been like actual justice, whatever the law decrees, and then there's always been a social justice, and so these are all like consequences of like how Harvey Weinstein makes people feel, and
Social
his-
justice.
Yeah, it's like
Warriors.
it's not offensive to me that it's muted, but I'm like, I found
Yeah.
it interesting that somebody was like, I have to, if I'm gonna upload this to YouTube, I have to go through it. It could have been Kevin Smith himself for all I fucking know. I don't know.
I wouldn't want to be associated with someone like that. I think there is a line for me. You know, I think there are some people who are like, "Oh yeah, no, everything goes," but I'm not. I got a line. The line must be drawn here, no further.
Line must be drawn
Yeah,
here.
there are all kinds of people in the industry who have been involved in things that you can point to and like, yeah, like certain shit went down on that movie that wasn't cool. And there's
When
many
there-
instances that I will
yeah.
not get into, but you can.
Hey,
There are
if-
a lot.
If like the law somehow, you know, which I don't know how it'll happen because the preponderance of evidence is like astonishing, but if the law were to somehow clear him, I would accept that, you know, but both sides of the,
Oh,
you know,
he's-
he's just a scumbag.
Yeah, but I mean, that's not even a question of could he be cleared. I mean, he was a legend for his brutality and his fucking just creepiness and just and like hygiene too. Like you're a okay. I see that you're not the best looking dude in the world. Of course, you know that's probably an issue for you mentally. Of course, a lot of people go through that. Yes, doesn't give you the excuse to be like, I have all this money, but I'm never gonna shower and wipe my ass, and I'm gonna do these horrendous things to people and abuse my power. And hey, nobody's saying anything about it. I guess I can just keep doing it, and it goes on and on. It's crazy how long these things go on for. I watched the
Well, I mean,
documentary We Need to Talk About Cosby, which won like
I haven't seen that yet. Where is it streaming?
Put
might be
the
on
jello
HBO
in
Max.
the
It's-
pudding
Oh
pot.
no, does that mean
Or
it's gonna
Showtime.
go away?
Showtime,
Do I have
I
to
think.
it like they're also pulling stuff, right, from HBO Max?
I
Like
don't-
there's
it's
just like
probably a Showtime thing. I can't remember who produced it. But it's like this
gosh.
award-winning, like highly acclaimed examinate, but like a horror movie. Like you, like they're describing a fucking like Jim Brown, the football player. Not only do you hear stuff about him in that documentary, there's another Playboy documentary about what went down at the Playboy Mansion over the years, like the fucking horrendous crimes. I can't even fucking just to say out loud and make me sick. But like stories about Jim Brown and his brutality against women is just, and the descriptions of it are so graphic.
All I can say is that as a person who's been roofied, but was fortunate enough not to have been, you know, not to have been, to have somehow evaded magically, I guess, or not magically, but I would just say through luck, I evaded whatever terrible.
I just wanted to see what
Inten-
you would look like roofied, okay?
No, it wasn't you.
Stop
But-
being
Remember in
mad
the-
at
but
me
I-
over
remember-
that.
do you remember in the 80s and 90s, roofing was like always a joke in things? Like,
No,
haha,
it's a
let's-
real thing. It's I don't know if
never,
it was roofies,
never
but
treated seriously in like they did it in Seinfeld too, right? Like there's an early episode of Seinfeld where he roofies a dude.
or they
and
call it, I
he-
think, Spanish fly is a term I've
Spanish
heard
fly
for it
or-
too, or whatever. That's
Bill
awful.
Cosby
I think, I'm
joked
sure
about
so.
that stuff in his stand-up in his early days, dude. You can there's albums where he talks about straight up doing what fucking put him in jail. Back in the day when everybody's like, oh well, that's just how it is, you know. There was always like this weird like
There was probably
people-
like
young people don't understand how people got away with stuff so much back in the day because nobody collectively took it seriously. And if you can, it was almost like the story of like my parents in school. Don't do anything bad in school because the teacher will beat you. Now, if the teacher beats you and you have marks when you come home, what happens? Your parents don't say, oh, what happened to you? They say, why did the teacher do that? You must have done something bad. And then they beat the fuck out of you. It's like that kind of like it's fucked up. I don't know what I'm getting into here. Childhood traumas of my parents or
Different
something.
generations.
I think yeah. Well, I guess I
It's great.
triggered a like a universal kind of experience because
But
those of us of a
Cycles of
certain
trauma.
like
the
human abuse and injustice was not taken nearly as certain. People weren't nearly as conscious of it as they are now because we're just so inundated with the good and the bad that we're just by default more aware of like the horrors and the atrocities.
it's also still possible that like you know, and I feel like that there's like I always feel like it's two steps forwards and maybe one step back, you know, like sometimes we go forward and then we seem to regress, but regardless, yes, there's a lot more awareness. You know, like what's encouraging is that like my parents' generation openly spoke about the kinds of abuse that they physical and corporal, I think it's called,
Corporal.
punishment, corporal punishment, that they endured on a regular basis. And I have to give my parents credit because like they never really hit us, like, you know what I mean, like they were able to transcend and see the cycle and break it, you know. And you know, I'm
Well,
not saying I never had my violent moments.
my
Yeah.
mother hit, but my father threw. He would like pick you
Oh
up like an
wow.
animal and like throw you somewhere.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm
Do you
sorry. But
remember
So
that?
fortunately,
Do you remember
hey,
that scene in Dragon, the Bruce Lee
a
story
lot of kids
when
around me had a lot worse. I gotta say. I
wow.
used to be afraid of other people's parents sometimes. Like like one friend. I was at his house after school, and his dad came, and he's supposed to deliver the papers. Like this is a well-to-do house. This is not some these people lived in a nice house and they seem like civilized folk, right? But I always thought his dad was like a normal dude or whatever, right? And he's supposed to deliver his papers right after school. And usually when we hang out, like I go deliver papers with him or whatever, and we hang out. But this time he wanted to show me some computer game, and we were there for like an hour. Like I can't even remember what game it was. But anyway, his father came home and saw the papers still there. He erupted in an explosion of anger that I had not seen in my life from a human being in like besides in like some crazy movie. Like Jason fucking Voorhees. He comes into the little room, it's like a computer room. Like picks up his son. We were in grade 6 at the time. Picks up his son by the neck and like his dad was a big dude and like threw him into the kitchen. And like this and I was just like, "Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god." And he's like, I delivered a paper. And I fucking, as soon as I got a chance, like a window, I was gone. And I was like, I'm never going back there again. And I remember his
What's
mother, dude's wife, was like apologetic for it. Like, she's like, I mean, he just has he has a temper.
Alright.
I'm like, I don't want to come to this house anymore. Like, I used to go there for dinner. Like, I knew these people. And then, like, all of a sudden, it was like, oh, fuck, your dad's goes into psycho mode sometimes because you didn't deliver the papers.
Well, I think
What would the
ultimately,
neighborhood think of your family then? Like, what the fuck is so, like for you to physically pick up your son and throw him across a room, like it's fucking crazy.
it is pretty crazy.
And then the guy's name was Davin. He had a weird
Oh,
name. Like nobody
you
else
just
knew him.
outed him on here. Now he's gonna be like, PJ, why'd you talk about my shit?
He doesn't know who I am or where I am.
Okay. Davin, sorry, bro.
He doesn't listen to podcasts.
But I always found him to be an interesting friend because he was a black belt. He was a physical, like he could kill a fucking person, and he was a little kid. And to see that his dad just like picked him up like a rag doll, and the thing was, he was such a zen person that he would get bullied, and people used to test him, like hit him a lot, and he used to do this thing where like it didn't phase him, and it used to like unintentionally egg people, like oh, this guy doesn't react when you hit him, let's do it. But if you got like in his face or anything like that, he'd just take you down in a second. But I was just like, I couldn't believe like this civilized, well-to-do seeming family, just like, and I know another guy who lived around the corner from me. His dad, like nobody would ever go in the house. Like his friends would never go in the house because his dad was this like psycho.
I don't think that the cycle of abuse knows anything about position or wealth or station or like well-to-do or poor. It's pretty rampant in like human societies all over the world, and it seems like, I don't know if it's gotten better, but at least it seems like many people are more conscious, as you said, and aware of it. And I think it's interesting that like people are openly dealing with and discussing their experiences. I think it's so wonderful that like you can get, I empathize a lot because I definitely saw situations like what you describe as well growing up. It was a rough time. The 80s were rough sometimes. There was rough stuff going on. It was bad, but it was also good in a lot of ways.
I remember me, him, and his sister went to see Batman Forever. And as young as we were like, that was shit. That's not a good Batman movie.
And then there was that scene with the paper in it. And
The
the
what?
dad went crazy. Sorry.
With the what? Wait, what?
Sorry.
Oh, there was this
Oh yeah, that's.
no, the dad wasn't there, thankfully.
That was just a bad joke.
Oh my god. What movie were you talking about, PJ, earlier that you went on and told everyone about the spoilers?
Samaritan.
Samaritan.
It sounded so not interesting.
Hey, I'm not some superhero.
Hey, yo.
Leave me alone, kid. I'm just a garbage man trying to pick up the garbage. Woo.
I remember seeing a little picture of it, and it reminded me of Bruce Willis in Unbreakable.
Oh God,
Because he
He's-
wears like the same kind of like raincoat.
Oh,
thing.
that's a
Gotcha,
much
gotcha.
better movie. Remember when M. Night Shyamalan made good movies? That 2 or 3 times. And then they.
Whoa.
Whoa, that was.
I have an echo. Is that coming from me?
No.
Yeah, but your levels are super high. I don't know how my levels are. I can't tell.
No,
People.
Your levels are. Everybody's levels are about the same.
Oh,
I
okay.
think.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe I'm low. Go ahead.
How
Marcelo.
low can you go?
So
Oh.
is that echo coming from me or?
No, I don't hear it now.
Oh shit.
Okay.
Echo. I am the echo. The echo will survive over the voice.
I am Echo the Dolphin.
Are you guys watching Sandman? Marcel, are you watching Sandman?
Yeah,
You are?
I finished that. I finished that in 2 days.
I'm on
'cause-
episode.
PJ?
I'm starting episode 4 tomorrow.
I watched the first episode, but I don't care about spoilers. It's not getting a second season anyway.
Oh, why?
I,
Why do you think? Why do you? Is that for no?
No,
Well, for
I
one
actually.
thing, it's extremely expensive, and
Yeah, it's
Netflix
super
doesn't like
expensive.
spending too much money on stuff that.
No.
My favorite episode of Sandman is episode 6. I think it's one of the best hours of TV that I've seen this year. From
What
just
happens
they
in
just,
that one? What was that episode?
Well, I'm not gonna. Well, I'm not gonna because I don't want to spoil it for Ruben. But the
It's been
things that
like
they-
17 years. Ruben doesn't care.
Well,
Why-
I
do
read
you
I read
care?
the comic book, so
Yeah,
Oh,
but-
well, how is it? Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
but because of who shows up and the conversations that they have, and the way that they view death and how
Oh, okay.
That
Yeah, that was
ends
a
up
great
happening.
episode. Ruben, what do you think so far? How many comics are there, by the way, in the whole series?
they ran from 89 to 96 or something like that. 95.
Oh, I only read it in '89. That's interesting. I read it when
So-
it first came out, so I didn't continue with it for that long. That's great. Wow.
But yeah,
no,
No,
but
maybe
I've heard
2 years. Yeah.
no, but I've heard that the first season of Sandman, the Netflix series, is the first 16 issues of the comic, which
okay.
Oh, okay. So
And
then,
the
Yeah,
whole
I
show
never I
was
never
for
read them
Knox.
as issues. I read them. I bought the collected.
Omnibus.
No,
I
it's
feel like I
the
may-
different stories collected as graphic novels.
I feel like I
Mhm.
read the first 20 issues, and the only reason I didn't continue is because I just got crazy busy. I really enjoyed the Sandman series, and I always loved. It got so popular that they would release these beautiful editions of it. Do you remember? Like there were always like there were some of these editions of it like that were just like bound beautifully, and like Sandman was a thing, and there was like even art made, lots of art back in the day. Like people were obsessed with Sandman, and I loved it. I wish I'd continued reading it, but so far the show to me is delightful. I'm disappointed to hear that you think it's not going to get made, continue to get made. And then that bonus episode was just amazing with
this guy
with
Tom Sturridge.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. You know, they've been talking about this Bond stuff, and we know for a fact that they're not going to do old Bond, so you're not going to get Idris Elba and certain actors that people thought they were going to get. So I was thinking,
No, they want.
if you skew younger, I was thinking Harris Dickerson or Dickinson. Anyways, the dude from the new Kingsman movie prequel.
There's only one
Like-
person I think that could play James Bond as a young person, and pull it off, and that would be Harry Styles.
I would gamble they want to get somebody that
I guarantee you right now, if they cast
No fucking way.
if they cast Harry Styles as James Bond, nobody will see
No
it.
fucking way.
Like not one, like
Oh
just
my
his
God.
Uber fans, and that's fucking it.
There's
mean,
like
can you
that's like billions of people, right? Like, isn't that a
Oh
lot?
my
Oh
of
my
audience?
God.
they probably want to get somebody that can sign for like 6 or 9 movies
Oh
or
my
some shit.
God.
But I was gonna say this guy from Sandman, Tom Sturridge.
Sturridge.
I was like, man, he's 30, he's 36.
I see him more as a Q character. I don't know. He's a bit quirky so far in this. What else has he been in?
I have no
I
idea.
mean,
He's been in Far From the Madding. He's something.
Oh,
I
I
saw
saw
that.
that.
I watched that
Yeah, I
in
saw
theaters.
that
Pirate
too.
Radio.
Oh, I saw that too. Oh
With
yeah, I
Carey-
do
with
remember
Carey
him.
Mulligan.
I love Pirate Radio, man. Pirate Radio is awesome.
How did I forget Tom Sturridge? That's terrible. I'm so sorry.
We're not gonna. I want to see the new Bond. I want to see them do Bond again. Damn it!
No, I'm a,
I think
I'm a,
Bond's gonna take a good break, like at
I
least
mean,
4
I-
years, 4 or 5 years.
I'm a huge Bond fan. Like Bond is my third favorite franchise of all time. So
You-
I have
do-
all the movies.
Do
I
you know
love them.
how people talked about Daniel Craig? Like he's edgy, but he's like the tender-hearted one with
Mhm.
the most emotion and all this stuff.
Mm.
I think the next step is yes, do a bit younger. You don't need to do another 00 origin story like you did in Casino Royale. But yeah, you make them none of that. You make them. You know how people complain about like it needs to be more. It needs to be more sensitive for nowadays. And
I hope they make
him
him a cold-hearted.
misogynistic and cold-hearted. Like one of the aspects of his character is that he is like cold and uncaring in that manner.
Honestly, I'm tired of Bond having feelings. I want him to be a cold-hearted bitch. And as a matter of fact,
I
that's how I
want
would
to see a
describe
Bond
him,
movie
yeah.
where everybody fights with foam swords.
I want to see a Bond that just like completely is unafraid to do like the best thing ever. Like he's just, and then he wins every time. Like I just want complete.
I want to see a
like-
remake of Moonraker.
But I
with
also-
Elon Musk as the villain.
The other thing is, I want him to have fun. Like that's something that I love Daniel Craig and I love those movies. They're very freaking good, and I will watch them over and over like throughout my life. I do enjoy those films. However, now that they're complete, like I wouldn't mind a complete tonal shift to something more fun-loving and kind of cheeky, and maybe even like a little,
Like
you
a
know.
Pierce Brosnan movie.
Yes, thank you. That's
And
a
it
great
means- and
way.
it means-
Yeah.
With
some-
Pierce Brosnan and the guy from
But even Connery and like
Sandman.
there was a lot more cheekiness and like all of the,
Right,
like I
right,
think the
right.
classic Bonds had like a cheeky quality
Timothy
that
Dalton
kind of
was kind of the first non-cheeky-ish one.
yeah. And again, Daniel Craig did an amazing job, and there was humor sprinkled here and there, but it was those are the heaviest James Bonds ever in my opinion, I think.
Yeah, Timothy Dalton was a softer, kind of like gentler Bond, but it had that 80s kind of like grit to it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
In fact, the second one he was in, I think it's License to Kill is the second one.
Yes. License to Kill.
And I wasn't
that is
joking-
actually the most graphic of the
Next Bond
movies.
film needs to be him being
That actually has a
recruited.
man's head exploding in a vacuum chamber.
Mm-hmm.
And
in
I
the
wasn't
shower.
joking about Harry Styles. I think he's young enough to pull off a like a freshman level agent, you know, like maybe
Well, like what Geek's saying. I like what Geek says.
Oh, what is
there,
it?
the
What's
last
going on?
comment.
the
I agree
the
with that.
next Bond
Uh-huh.
film.
100%.
Like an actual detailed origin story. Just call it 007, yeah.
Wait, the next Bond film needs to be him being recruited. Oh, there you go. Yeah, like exactly a freshman level. Yeah, something like that. Like, you know, where maybe we even like maybe the culmination of like a couple of movies is the first kill. You know, like things like that. Like not
I don't
like
want
that.
that. I don't want that Daniel Craig serialized bullshit anymore.
Oh, okay.
I want them to go back to a classic. It's like it's the
Classic
next
format.
logical step, like a classic format now. We've had the ultra kind of
Harry
like,
Styles
gritty,
would still be
realistic.
perfect for that, I think.
I
too.
agree.
But here's the problem. You don't agree,
Hey,
Bart.
thank you, Ruben.
No, you don't.
Ruben's exceptionally nice to me tonight. I think it's because I have this shirtless Kylo Ren picture.
No,
I
you
miss-
don't,
I miss
Ruben.
you. You
Come
gotta
on.
come
But
over.
you know
You
the
gotta come to my
problem with
house.
Harry Styles
I
though
will. I will.
is that if he's playing an iconic role, you're only gonna see Harry Styles
I'll be
as
right back.
James Bond. It'll take
Yeah, you're
some
not
doing.
gonna
He would
see.
really have to prove himself. Like seriously, come
Yeah,
on.
I don't view Harry Styles as an actor. I'm sorry, I
And
just don't.
he's I don't mean to be cruel, but sometimes sometimes with casting Bond, you really you can't afford to go the beta male route.
Yeah, I
What
mean,
is
I
a
mean?
beta male? Is that what you're calling Harry Styles? Is that
But that's a beautiful thing. If that's
What is that? What is a beta male?
it's somebody who's not like what's the word aggro mean? Does that mean like
What is that?
aggressive
Is that what
male?
Is Kylo Ren aggro in this picture?
Like you have
Is
alpha
Kylo Ren
male. You have
aggro in this?
it's social science. You have
Is
alpha
Kylo
males
Ren an alpha male? Is he? Look at
Yeah.
him in this picture. He's an alpha.
Well, think
he
about
needs a
it.
shirt in the picture. I'll tell you that much.
I consider him a soft boy.
Maybe the actor himself, but not the
No, Kylo's a soft boy. He's like a tortured soft boy.
But I don't mean like beta, like he's some kind of cuck or something. But
What is that? What is a beta? No, there's no more betas and alphas. They canceled that.
oh wait, it's controversial just to say beta and alpha.
It's
I
just
wanna see-
disproven. There's no. We're different things in different times of our lives.
I
In
want
some
to see.
situations,
Listen, I
we're
want
all
to
of
see
this.
Harry Styles be Bond, and he defeats the villain with his brand new single, baby.
oh, I would love that. Actually, that would be amazing. Actually, I would love
No.
if you know what would be great if Harry Styles did the opening song to his own movie. That would be
No.
perfection. Yes, like he would do like whatever it's called. What would that movie be called? Let's
Double
call
O
it something.
Harry.
No,
Be
but
like,
what
"You're
would the
about to
title be?
watch me in this movie.
No, oh, here's the title of this. It's called James Bond. The mirror reveals it all, right? And so his song is like, the mirror reveals it
I
all.
like it. I like
It
it.
shows me my reflection. One is soft and one is hard, and which one?
Have you ever heard Johnny? There's a bunch of throughout the years. There's a bunch of rejected. Throughout the years, there have been a number of rejected Bond themes, and one of them is
Harry Styles
Thunderball
song.
by Johnny Cash. It's not a great song.
Is it
I can see why they went with the Tom
Thunderball?
Jones version. Tom Jones has that like Thunderball. It's like he's good. He's good. But when
Yeah.
Johnny Cash sings like his, it's not the same song. It's just like another song about
The
Thunderball.
mirror
It's like,
reflects it all.
it's standard Johnny Cash, and he sounds like this. The song's not special. Doesn't sound like Bond. It's
The
like
bullets are bouncing off the walls.
I like it.
Is it my first
my
time?
favorite. My favorite.
Or
ones are the
have I
Shirley
been
Bassey
ready
ones.
for this all
Is that a
my
real song?
life?
What the fuck are you talking about?
The mirror
I think it would be
reflects
called
it all.
Bond: The Invisible Movie because no one would see it.
Hold on, Starfleet Boy. What is it? Is this a real song?
I'm making it up as we go along. I'm improvising here. This is complete improvisation.
What
It's
about,
You're-
called
you-
magic.
what
I
about
would
what
say.
about the Tina Turner one from GoldenEye?
Golden eye, not lace, no leather. I love that song. I love all these. The Bond opening themes are all great. I have a playlist of all the opening songs.
I love Goldfinger.
Yeah, it's a good one too.
Yeah.
But I really love what's Dalton's "Dance into the Fire," that
Yeah.
fatal kiss.
That's,
is all we
View to a
Goldfinger.
Kill. A View to a
Like a
Kill.
pinky in
Yeah.
the butt.
Whoa, that's not what it's like. That's not what. Well, maybe actually, gold would be very because gold is antibacterial or microbial. I think, if I'm
Do-
not
do you know-
mistaken,
do you
so
know
it'd
what the
actually be perfect.
I want to test your guys' knowledge of Bond themes. What was the last great Bond theme? And see if you say the one I'm thinking of. And I'll give you a hint. The person who sang it has sadly passed since That could be any number.
Oh,
of
the Amy
people,
Winehouse
but
one,
yeah.
right? Did Amy Winehouse do one? Am I imagining
No,
that?
she didn't.
No, she's doing.
Sorry. I love Amy Winehouse though.
I'll give you another hint. It's followed. The next movie in the lineup has the worst Bond theme ever. And the last great Bond theme, and it's in the Daniel Craig era. I'll give you another hint. There you go.
Oh,
Well,
Chris Cornell.
Chris Cornell. That's
What
a
was
fucking
his
good song,
one?
dude.
What was his one?
And lyrically, it's so Bond too.
That was
If you take a life, do you know what you get?
yeah.
Is it
Like,
Quantum
all
of
the
Solace?
lyrics are
Which
just
one?
it's Do You Know My Name?
You know my name, yeah.
Which
You
one
know
did
my name.
Adele do? What was that
Arm
called?
yourself because no one else here
Skyfall.
will save you.
That's my
The
favorite.
odds will betray you. It's got a Bond and poker theme to it. It's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
The
And
Adele one's my
Chris
favorite.
Cornell was like one of the best vocalists. You actually hear him do like live.
Yeah,
He does a rendition
mean-
of "Nothing Compares to You." It's like fucking beautiful. Like the
Yeah,
dude
I mean,
was
Audio
like, so
Slave-
talented.
The
Audio
last
Slave
one was good
great.
too. Who sings the last one?
His Michael Jackson Billie Jean is amazing too. I'm serious about that.
Billie Eilish.
Billie
See-
Eilish did a great job too. I like that last theme.
What's Skyfall? Let the sky fall. That was okay.
That's
yeah, that was
Adele.
good. I like that. Let
What
the
was
sky
the Sam
fall.
Smith one? If
It
I
was,
lose it all, would you break my fall? Something like that. I don't know.
That was beautiful. Beautifully
How do I
sung,
live?
of course.
How do I breathe when I'm not here? Something like that. Anyway, they haven't been as good as the Chris Cornell one, but the one from Quantum of Solace with
That's
Alicia Keys and
That's
Jack
awful.
White. That's an assault on the fucking ears, dude.
I don't remember that. I don't remember that one.
Oh my god.
PJ, can we do a listening party and go in
This is
order?
not fucking, this doesn't
That's
belong in a
abuse.
film at all, let alone a
PJ
Bond film. What are you talking about?
PJ, can we do a listening party and go in order of all the Daniel Craig ones at least, and just listen to them at the same time? I want to hear them all.
Oh, I can't listen to them all in full. Come on now.
You don't want to like hear them all again? I just want to hear them. I want to know what they were. I can't remember their order. I think we should do a listening party starting from the
Another
very
Way
first.
to Die. Is that what the song
I don't
is
know.
from
How many
Quantum of
Daniel Craig
Solace?
movies are there? There's only like 3, right?
Five.
No,
There's five.
There's there's
See,
Sorry.
I'm telling you. Come on. Who's the Bond film here? Come on.
I thought there were only 3 too. I'm not a Bond person, so
I'm a huge Bond person, but for some reason it only felt like
I've
3
seen most of them.
movies.
I haven't
No.
seen the last one. I think.
The last one's great.
No,
But
I-
it does something that the franchise has never
No,
done
I-
before.
no.
Diamonds are forever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love.
Forever.
I love the Daniel Craig era because they chose to do something that the Bond series has never done. I mean, if they had a plan and maybe if they executed it a little bit better, it would have paid off more. But with that being said, I love the ending of the last film because they did something that the franchise has never done, and I really, really applaud them for that.
Yeah, Bond
I-
punch a turtle.
I
Yeah, they have Bond
actually
Punch a Turtle.
we've been talking
Turtle.
about Harry Styles, but actually I remember in a discussion we had I actually like supersede my Harry Styles wish for my previous wish, which is I think this is a great opportunity to switch James Bond's gender to female.
I would
No.
say
I don't agree,
no.
Mm-mm.
I would say
Nope.
if
Oh,
you wanna
wow.
if you do, but
No.
see, I don't mind gender swapping, race swap. Like
No,
it
I wouldn't do
it
that.
doesn't mean a whole lot, but I think in certain instances, like there's some obvious, like Black Panther, you just I don't even have to say it. You don't cast with somebody who's not of African American
White,
or
yeah.
African descent. You know what I mean? Like it's just if you had a white person playing, like that's a clear example of that kind of race swapping in a movie. That you shouldn't do.
I've met women named James.
I believe but
women
hold on,
met
hold on,
named
just let me finish,
Michael.
but let
All
me
right,
just
all right.
finish. Can I just finish my point? Come on. Sorry. But in the case of like Batman, it's like, sure, anybody could be Bruce Wayne, but the male aspect, the gender of him is something that you could, but that would just be Batwoman. That would just be Batgirl. You know what I mean? Like in that case, in the case of Bond, in the last movie there was another agent he was with, and people were all up in arms about, oh, she's gonna replace 007 because she's the new 007, and we're all up in arms. And that's not what the movie is about. There's none of that like so-called forced woke bullshit that people fucking carry on about. There's none of that in the movie. It has nothing to do with this
I'm just saying
it has nothing to do with a woman replacing Bond or anything. So that's I'm just saying in context, that's the direction people thought they were going to go, and they were up in arms about that. I think that's foolish because that's not actually, there was no evidence of that, right?
If
But
James
in the case
Bond,
of Bond, I think you can change you can have like a black person, like Henry Golding, is one of the top choices if you could, but it's like in that case race swapping is, but it's something about like him. If you're gonna do a female Bond, just do a story maybe in the Bond universe of a female agent. You know what I mean? Like the whole idea,
I mean,
the whole
I can
idea
understand
of
like
doing a thing just to do it because it's
in universe, there's nothing that could prevent a female from having the 007 designation. I don't think they retired them, right? Like they're not. They.
Oh no! That's what I just
Yeah.
said in the new
But
movie.
what I'm saying is, I would
Shonda
go
Rhimes
so far
is
as to
007. She literally
Yeah.
replaces Bond.
that's what
and it's like
But I'm saying also it
That's
wouldn't be bad if they even just reboot the whole series and James Bond is female. To me, I think that would be amazing.
like Jane Bond or something like that.
No, James, like her name
yeah,
would be
okay,
James.
Sure.
Like
You could,
Michael,
but, like,
there's
it's-
Michael.
it's-
There's women named Michael. There's a Michael
sure,
Burnham.
yeah.
She's famous.
Good
James
for that.
freaking Bond. Why does James have to be a male name? And I think also, by the way, I have met women named James.
Oh, okay, sure.
I'm confident of that
I haven't
in
no
real
objection to
life. So
that.
there's already a precedence.
But it's like that's like why just create a new character who
Because
like,
I think
it-
personally,
like
it
I don't
would
want
be
to
an
spoil
interesting
anything
twist.
about the Daniel Craig movies, but for reasons it is the last one, and if they were to carry on a new 007 played by whoever not like male, female, whatever, whoever could theoretically carry on the franchise, but that's not what they did. They wanted to completely reboot it, and they could come along and say like, you know what, we're gonna do James Bond, but it's a different take where it's a female. But if you're gonna do the female version of James Bond, then I'm sorry, you're gonna need to have her. If she's into men, bed men, and if she's into women, bed women, like the same way Bond would in that way. I think that's.
I think
you can't change.
I think
if you're gonna do the gender swap, don't completely change the nature of the character at least.
I think it would be perfectly sinister, but also perfectly fitting for the Bond universe, at least in my opinion. If what happens is that, what is it, MI5 or they're MI6? What is it?
MI6.
Thank you. So if MI6 actually implants a memory of James Bond into every 007 active agent, like once the previous dies, so that there's like this whole thing where like you assume this like ultimate personality that is always going to do the best thing for king and country. And so it gets like wild in a way, like to a new level. And we know that this kind of like stuff happens on like not like quite like as intricate as like a sci-fi way or but whatever, but like certainly people who serve their countries in the fashion that like these agents do are extremely devoted to the service of their country, like in a way that would suggest that they're like perhaps even brainwashed into being that way.
You lost me at hello. What?
Ruben knows what I'm talking about. Ruben's super intrigued by he's muted though. He's muted.
A sci-fi James Bond, I dig it.
See?
I
See,
dig it.
Ruben's ready.
All I heard
Ruben's
was
ready for the
James
next
Bond should be a
paradigm.
girl, and if you don't agree with me, you're not woke. Now get away.
That's not what I said. Did I
No,
ever
I'm
say those words?
I'm joking.
I am making a case
I
for
love
James Bond
making fun
though.
of woke culture.
I think
because I
RuPaul should
think
play
the whole
James
concept
Bond.
is absurd.
Who would you cast as like the we would just continue with the actress who played 007, right? In the Daniel Craig films.
Shonda Rhimes.
Yeah.
That's her name, like the producer.
Is it Shonda?
There's Shonda Rhimes created Grey's Anatomy and
It's
Yeah, I
Shonda
feel
Lynch.
like-
Shonda Rhimes. Jesus
Oh my
Christ.
goodness,
It's
PJ.
Shonda Lynch.
Shonda Lynch.
What-
oh okay.
What have you done?
It's another
I-
plot of Total Recall.
I've literally only seen her in one movie. Like I can't remember.
No, you know what? It
names.
reminded me of your idea a little bit. It
Oh
was
no, she was.
Assassin's Creed.
She was in Captain Marvel. Yeah,
The Assassin's Creed stories have
and she
an
was
idea
in
like that, where
Multiverse of Madness.
each
Shauna
assassin
Lynch.
has like the
Shauna
memories
Lynch.
of the previous one.
Oh, I like that. See, I've never even
Sorta,
played Assassin's
sorta.
Creed.
But Shauna Lynch's character in the 007 she plays in what's the last one called again?
No Time to Die.
No Time to Die.
She turned out to be a really good character, a really funny,
Yeah, she was
likable character.
fantastic. Yeah.
And it's just funny how, and this is what they're doing with Lord of the Rings, is what they did with She-Hulk. These groups of people who cry, "Whoa, garbage! They're trying to destroy men." I can't get with any of it like that. I can't understand it for the fucking life of me, dude. And it's like, what is
Those
it?
are betas that are threatened by women. That's what they are,
Jennifer
right?
from
Did I say
She-Hulk-
that right? Is that what
Jennifer
it
from
is? Did I
She-Hulk
say?
has- Jennifer from She-Hulk has this speech about, I'm a woman, so I have to control, and people are using that clip of like, this is what woke better than men. I'm like, did you watch the episode? Because Mark Ruffalo is still way stronger than her. Like they don't. They're not trying to trick you into thinking anything otherwise.
It's a terrible argument because unfortunately, like what they're calling the woke quote unquote culture, like it's kind of something that everyone
God.
aspires to be. Like everyone aspires to be like,
It gives me a
like-
tumor.
but doesn't everyone aspire to be like quote unquote woke or enlightened or better
Yeah,
than they were
yeah,
yesterday? Like
there's a
isn't that
problem.
like a good
That's-
thing? Like
That's here's the problem.
Don't do all your thinky with your thinkiness shit, man.
Woke
Just hate.
Woke was Bill Burr makes a great joke about woke. He's like, some white woman heard that at a party and she hijacked it and she started using it and talking about the meaning, the noble meaning of terms and words like social justice. Believe it or not, I know some kids coming up now don't know this, but that actually used to mean a good thing. It didn't have a negative it didn't have a negative thing or a weird thing automatically attached to it. So
It was this divisive thing. Really.
Progressive and like just the human race like evolving into accepting like different cultures and orientations and genders and all of this stuff that's coming up now. It's like you still have these people who are like, this is shoving it down. Like there's always this idea that all these new things are being thrown at me and it's an assault on my senses of, it's like, what? Okay, Lord of the Rings. I heard about like complaints about they got female dwarfs in there and they don't have beards or something. I'm like, and woke garbage. I see that about this new Lord of the Rings and I'm like, but why though? You haven't seen it though.
But in the context of the
Just
film,
because
I don't remember what it is
because
in the
of,
books,
like,
but
the black female dwarf.
It's like
they bitched about that. I heard people bitching about that.
there's no escaping it now. It's almost like everything that comes out, if there is somebody in the cast who is like a gender or race swap from the source material, like Sandman, like does that,
I'm actually surprised
and,
no one bitched
everybody
about
loves
what
the
they did in
fucking show.
Sandman.
Like only idiots are like, oh well, this ruined the show. You changed the characters from the comics. It's like, no, I hear it's I don't watch it myself. I hear it's a very well made show, and it's a faithful adaptation, even though it changes some things, and that's fucking okay. And I know earlier I'm like, I don't think a female Bond is ideal for me personally, but I'm not like one of these people who's like, it's gonna be woke garbage if you do that.
Man,
it's
you-
just that's not my personal preference, and that's okay too.
You find like a modern day Linda Hamilton, you plop her in that role, let her fucking kick some ass.
Come with me if you want to live.
Linda Hamilton from Terminator 2, I should say.
And also, who played Shut Up Mapes in Dune? That was Linda Hamill, right? No, there's like a different. Who am I thinking of? The Year of Living Dangerously. She was in. She played the. You know who the Shut Up Mapes is?
Oh,
The
you're talking about
housekeeper.
are you talking about Sean King?
No,
No, no,
no, the
Sean Young,
Sean Young.
no, no. Okay, in Dune,
the new
the
one.
David Lynch. No, the
Oh,
David Lynch version. There's this actress who plays a character called Shut Up Mapes, and she's a Fremen, and she tries to kill Moadib, and he like somehow I forget the details of it, but anyways, she's convinced that he's the chosen one or whatever, but she's like she says it's just this
Well,
famous
Sean
thing.
Young
She's
played Shawnee.
Linda
Sorry.
Hunt.
yeah. Linda Hunt, thank you. That's what I was. It was Linda Hunt, I love her. Anyways, that's all.
She always
I
creeped me out.
Yeah, she was great. Linda Hunt's great there. She was in The Year of Living Dangerously. She plays. I feel like, if I'm
She
not
was in Kindergarten
mistaken,
Cop.
she is playing a male character,
Not
and
too
that might have
long.
been one of the first. Have you guys seen that movie, The Year of Living Dangerously?
Yeah, I mean not a long ass time, but yeah.
I think Linda Hunt
Oh, with Mel
played the
Gibson?
first. I think it was one of the first like prominent films where yeah, that's Mel Gibson, I think. But it was one of the most prominent films where someone's gender swapping, like back in the day. And
Well,
if I'm
Glenn
not,
Close played a man in Hook.
oh yeah, that's right, that's right.
She played a
There was,
man in another thing as well, but
oh yeah,
In
uh,
real life. Oh.
and
just
you
kidding.
know
oh my
people talk
gosh.
about this idea of now an actor can only play a specific role if they can personally identify it on enough, like they like what actor, some actor was talking about how some actors who are not necessarily big actors but they're kind of like they show up in movies here and there. Some people are racially ambiguous, meaning they're probably mixed race and they could play different races. And
I'm
that,
Kenyan and Chinese.
for example, a Korean could play
Or like
Chinese or Japanese.
Marcelo and I, we're like that.
Like, but this idea that
Marcelo's raising his
actors,
eyebrow.
I can understand. Like, you need an actor who's like the same race as the character. Yes, obviously, you're not gonna do makeup to physically alter the race. That's not an acceptable thing, obviously. But this idea that Tom Hanks said, "I would never play the character in Philadelphia if it was offered to me now because I'm not gay." And that's some
Did
like
Tom Hanks say that? That's crazy.
yes, it's like actors now are having this like retroactive regret of living in a different time and playing roles that wouldn't be acceptable now. Like,
That's totally fair. Like I get that from a personal level, like because it
I
is
feel like that's what it
but
unfortunate.
some of the actors from Pose made a
I
point
feel like
about
though,
well,
like
we don't
No,
think
but
we don't think
don't you
doesn't that
want
defeat the point? Doesn't
and
that defeat the
doesn't
point?
I don't know, isn't that
Because
good? Isn't it
actors,
good for the community for someone like him to do that and like try to completely empathize to the degree of living in their shoes kind of thing, you
yeah,
know?
but
Like
actors. Here's the thing.
maybe I'm just an
I don't
idealist.
I
Go
don't
ahead.
necessarily agree with that because a newsflash: actors and actresses get to play people that they're nothing alike. That's their
yeah,
job.
yeah.
So
Also,
for them,
what Tom Hanks is overlooking, God bless him, or I don't know why I
They
said
want to
that,
be
but
they want to
but
be
but what Tom Hanks
socially
is
in the right
what
place about it nowadays. So they say like,
what Tom
well, if I
Hanks
did it
is
nowadays, I wouldn't do it.
what Tom Hanks is overlooking is that the impact of him playing that role specifically was huge because he was such a wholesome like individual and beloved by so many conservative and liberal people alike. Like Tom Hanks is like universally loved and often is in films that are beloved by many people across many different ideologies and faiths. So like for him to play the role of a gay man had a huge impact at the time because the paradigm would have made it impossible for an actual gay man to probably land that role and have the reach that film did. Philadelphia was a blockbuster type film. Like it was, everyone went to see it because it's a Tom Hanks film and he's playing a gay character.
I didn't know what I
So
felt. I was
so I think he's being
unrecognizable to myself.
I think he's discounting his own contribution
Streets
and
of
being humble
Philadelphia,
because I don't think
yeah,
anyone
yeah,
else,
yeah.
he broke a ceiling for others to come and play. And so I respect it. I remember how oppressive it was. Like I was in the closet at that time because I really felt that my life was in threat often if I revealed that I was gay. So it was very powerful that Tom Hanks kind of like normalized
I
in a
would have
sense.
fucked you up.
No,
Hey, come on now, none of that.
but
None of that
it felt
none of that
there was a lot
locker
of
talk.
fear. Like there were times where I would reveal my feelings to a person and they reacted so terribly. Like they said they were gonna kill me because I had those
Oh,
kinds
people
of
are so
feelings.
stupid.
No, but it was scary. Like imagine
I
that.
know. That's why
Like, you know,
it's
it's
so,
like,
it's
you know,
so,
like,
it's such a weird part
and
of
you
humanity
hear about
that
it
just makes me
today.
sick.
And you hear about it today. Actually, trans people face this today. I no longer have that fear, you know, in my adulthood, thank goodness. But I do see that that fear is still present. It's just moved from like homosexuals to trans people. You know, it's just it's a terrible, terrible thing.
There's a trans man. Yeah. Well, no. Well, I'm sorry. I meant to say trans woman. He, the, this guy, like when he was a male, like you see him go around, and he started wearing like a dress and a wig and all that stuff, and people, you like he'd be just walk around the neighborhood. He became a council. I'm talking about before the. Anyway, this person transitioned, so she is like a council member in the city now. But one time, she was walking down the street, and some like fucking hobo dude like gawked at her and like stared at her as she walked, and she like acted like didn't. But I'm like looking at this guy, and his just shock of like, oh, that's like, yeah, there's still people around like that. It's like old time. It's like an old generation that is yet to pass, that are in the mindset of like, anything different blows my mind. Like it's so fucking weird.
Some
By
people
the
can
way,
keep up easily with evolution, and some people can't.
it's like
Because it's just a completely bizarre thought to me that people hate on anyone just because they
Forget the past. Kill it if you
kill
have
if
to.
Yes, sir.
Is that what he says? What is the actual line? Does anyone know it? I could probably look it up. Forget the past. Forget nostalgia.
but it was good to see this person that I'm talking about transition, and of course she had to take some shit, but like she became a council member on city council, and she's got a good job, and like has got respect. And like I'm just thinking about, like, there was one point where that person had to struggle through all that bullshit of being either mocked or gawked at or whatever the fuck. And it's just, can we just skip past that part, people? Can we just get to the part where you don't give a fuck? Because
I went to very recently. I don't know. I don't feel comfortable sharing like the name of the person because I don't know if I have the family's permission. But someone who I went to high school with transitioned and recently passed away. I was friends with them, and so I was like horrified because I learned that they had quite an ordeal over the pandemic, because unfortunately they transitioned right before the pandemic. So like when lockdown happened, and like when everyone's like when all the like medical resources were like kind of occupied with COVID, this individual was unable to get the proper care for their post transition stuff. They had a phalloplasty that went wrong and got infected, and it like led to like severe depression and stuff like that. And so like unfortunately, like even I feel like a transition should be a celebration. Like when you find out who you really are, like and you're able to do something like where your outer self kind of represents that, like tonight, like I'm discovering that I really want to look like Kylo Ren. No, I'm just kidding. Sorry, I didn't mean to make a joke, but but like, sorry, I'm so sorry. That was so bad. I was being,
Sorry, we'll edit
but
that out in post.
no, there's no editing. It's terrible person. Everyone's gonna say Starfleet Boy's a dick. Get the fuck out of here. But I guess my point is that like it should be a celebration. It's
Starfleet
sad.
boys are big old
It's sad that
penis.
there's so much. Wow, that's not what they're gonna say. But it is sad. It is sad that it is sad. No, truly. So cheers to my friend. I'm just gonna say.
Cheers.
Because it shouldn't be like that. Like it should be
No, it's
easy
fucking
for people to be
ridiculous.
their true self. Yeah.
And with the Tom Hanks thing, back in the day, a lot of people in the 90s, believe it or not, like it was a very repressive time. We all know. So a lot of people weren't even out. So there weren't a lot of openly gay actors big in Hollywood to take. There's more of those roles for people who want to play them, if that's the case. I'm not saying like it uh roles should be exclusively for the people who live the actual life that the role is very similar to. But I just want to bring up a point. MJ Rodriguez and India Moore are in the show Pose, right? Very good show that deals with trans issues and stuff like that. They were in an interview talking about, if you're going to let cis people play trans roles, then afford the same opportunity to trans people to play
Right.
cis roles.
Higher based on
then
merit.
in the same interview, India Moore's like kind of emphasizes the point, was like, why if your sexuality or gender is not dissected within the role, then what does it matter who plays what type of thing? You know what I mean? Like, and MJ Rodriguez is in a new show with Maya Rudolph called Loot, which I watched the first season of. It's a good show.
Give me the loot. Give me the loot.
Ruben might be.
I could have missed it, but there's never a point in the show where MJ Rodriguez trans woman status is ever mentioned or touched upon. She's just a woman doing a job, and she's like the funny co-star with Maya Rudolph, who has to put up with Maya's bullshit.
I'll tell you.
None of that is relevant. But however, if a character's trans journey is relevant, then it's probably a better idea to cast somebody who's actually trans.
And
That's
I'll
what
tell
I'm
you.
saying. I don't like the idea of forbid certain people from playing certain roles because they're not just like that in real life. Like, that's sometimes that kind of guarding against political incorrectness goes too far, and it's like, oh, come on now, actors are actors. They want to play roles. Like,
Also,
I don't care if a woman plays a man. I don't care if a man plays a woman. Louis Anderson played one of his best role as a woman in the show Baskets. Like, it's one of the best characters ever in television, and it's a man playing a woman. And because it's such a great, loving, endearing performance, not one person has ever complained about it. Like, oh, Louis a man, he shouldn't have played a woman. Like, nobody's ever said that. Because it's just common sense not to bitch about something that's such a beautiful performance in itself. That why dissect it in that way? I'm using the word dissect a lot. Sorry.
There have been homosexuals and trans people in Hollywood like forever. Like, that's something that like has been a secret part of Hollywood. Like, in senses like that. Like, one of the things that like I think is magical about the profession of acting is that like, and I think that where the debate is actually a valid one, is that like performance gives you the ability to kind of go outside of what you are, like, and some actors, I think that's like a fundamental part of performance, like, is that like you have to sometimes be who you're not, like, whether it's like there are, I think that what we're talking about tonight, like, there's a lot of complex things, and like social views do come into play, and like society's views go from conservative to like really open. You see a cycle. It just happens a lot. It seems to be like a a
A
constant
lot
thing.
of people are like really on one side or the other, and they have like a mentality.
No,
like,
I think it's like a
people are
wave.
afraid to be in the middle because they don't want to be bitched at by either side.
I honestly think the middle's just kind of quiet and kind of complacent, and like is just like, well, I don't see anything threatening like my, my general well-being at the moment, so I'm not going to say anything, but it'll happen one day. But going back to what we were talking about, like I do think that, like, you know ultimately, like, it would be really, really great to just have a female Bond. I just really think it would be great. Like,
Here we go again.
let's just do it, man. Let's go,
You're
gung
you're on mute,
ho.
Ruben.
Ruben's on mute.
Oh, I was just doing mouthing the James Bond.
And I would be super down if Harry Styles played the female Bond. Like, I think he could totally pull.
Well, in that case, I want a male Batwoman. I want
A
a
male
male
what?
Wonder Woman.
I'm down too. I'm super down for that, actually.
I want RuPaul to play James Bond.
Yes, I do too. 100%. I totally request.
No joke. I want RuPaul as a Bond villain. That
Oh,
would, that would
awesome
be so
too, yeah.
fitting in the
RuPaul would
kind
be
of
great.
like,
Yeah, it's true.
like he'd be.
I
but
got
he
a
would
big
be-
laser, Mr. Bond. That's the worst RuPaul impression ever.
That was really bad.
Skyfall had.
That was terrible.
They've had gay villains before in Bond. They had the guys from. They had the couple from Diamonds Are Forever.
Oh, can I just say one more thing, PJ, about Tom Hanks? I also want to give credit to Antonio Banderas, who played his boyfriend in the movie. That was
Antonio
epic. I think that was his breakout role. I believe that was like I'd seen him, I think, in Almodovar films before that. Maybe.
I first
That
saw
was
him on
like-
the streets of Philadelphia.
Anyways, that movie was so profound, and I just want to say on a personal level, that came out in 1993, if I'm not mistaken. Before that, I started to know that I was like, I don't know why I'm whispering, like if like 1983 is gonna hear me, but like
It will.
it will. It's true.
Voices
No joke.
travel through
My
time.
my aunt Cindy was babysitting me.
It's science.
My aunt Cindy was babysitting me. She let me rent 2 videos from the video store, and I rented Batman: Mask of the Phantasm and Philadelphia.
I saw that in theater.
And
I saw
she
Mask
saw
of the
that I was
Phantasm
watching
in theater.
Philadelphia, and she's like, "Are you sure you're allowed to watch this? Like, this is like a serious movie about." She didn't think I would understand it, and I'm like, "I get it. Like, I'm not stupid. I'm a child, but still, I understand the story. I could watch mature movies when I was a kid and understand it."
What Philadelphia felt like for me as a young person who was starting to realize that they were homosexual was like, before Philadelphia, there was so much homophobia just from everyone. Like, it was rampant. Like, it was just like the normal kind of joking that happened was gay jokes. Like, it just was constant. After Philadelphia, it's weird. It just like had this effect of like
Homophobia was cured after Philadelphia.
no,
What are you
well,
talking about?
maybe people got woke, PJ. But what happened after Philadelphia is like the mainstream sort of got like schooled by Hanks. Like, Hanks was like, "Yo, this is a real life, like a human being. Look at how they suffer. Look at how people suffer who are gay. Like, this is like a thing, you know." And the AIDS epidemic was huge and out of control, and no one wanted to deal with it. No one wanted to like figure it out, you know. And so it was like it was a profound. That's it. I think that film, like, for me, would be like one that genuinely would teach a class at Harvard about
Do
it.
you know what his first movie was?
Tom Hanks,
No, Antonio Banderas.
Kiss Kiss Bang
He had
Bang.
some
No, I don't
pretty,
know.
like, he had some pretty
It was
like
David Lynch's Dune.
Oh, what?
No, I'm just kidding. It was a Spanish film.
he was in some
Sheesh.
like sex films back in it, like some hardcore, like not hardcore, but
What?
like it,
Well,
How have I
Tie Me
never
Up, Tie
seen
Me- Tie Me,
these?
Tie Me Up, Tie Me Down was a little sexy.
I love Pedro Almodovar, and he's in a lot of his films. But my favorite Pedro Almodovar film is
I first saw him in Desperado.
All About My Mother, or Todo Sobre Mi Madre.
Todo sobre mi madre.
Speaking of
There was
which,
there was a I've talked about this channel, in Canadian Channel Showcase, which had like really artsy mature movies and foreign films and stuff, and Antonio Banderas was in one, and like he's literally like fucking a girl on the street, like up against the car, and it's like pretty fucking. It goes on. I used to watch the channel for like because it was uncensored. You can see anything on it, or like and all these foreign films had all of this. There was a Daniel Day-Lewis movie called The Unbearable Lightness of Being, and there's this whole scene where he's imagining this group of women completely naked, and you see all their like, it's like, oh my god.
When I was 13,
It's
I was
revolutionary.
allowed to have a television in my bedroom. It was for I was only allowed to watch PBS. That was that was the rule. So like I couldn't watch I could watch shows with the family in the family room. Like we would have certain shows that we would gather and watch, but like I was only allowed to watch PBS. But it didn't matter. My parents assumed PBS showed like educational shit 24 hours, right? So they were like, we don't care if you're up till late hours. You can only watch PBS. PBS had like so much nudity because they would play foreign films at nighttime. So like they were like, I saw this movie A Room with a View, and like there's like so many dicks on the screen, and
Room with a
13-year-old
View?
me was Room with a View, and so like 13-year-old me is like, whoa, that's a dick. Oh my god,
Sounds
look
like
at
a
those.
Bond movie.
Those are man dicks. Oh my
So
gosh,
many dicks.
yeah, so like it awakened my puberty, I guess. That was
Too
puberty.
many
Yeah.
dicks on the dance floor. Too many dicks.
Sorry, it looks like I gave too much information. Marcelo looks
No.
like he's about to gag.
Nobody's a Flight of the Conchords fan here.
There's
Too
a
many
series, I don't know
dicks
where
on
you can
the
find it in
dance
America.
floor.
It's called The Dark Side of Comedy. The first episode was about Chris Farley, but the second episode is about Andrew Dice Clay. And how about his comedy became so offensive, even to people at the time, that it destroyed his career.
Oh, he was
And it's
yeah,
just-
he was
it's just
super
like
controversial at the
like-
time.
I didn't quite realize how bad his material was. Like, I'd seen him from here and there, like, he's kind of a joke, right? And some of the stuff he says about gay people, like, he really homophobic stuff. And he's since said he's regretted it, and it was all a character. But, like, aside from the misogynistic kind of, like, element, he had people, the point in the documentary, they're like,
Yeah,
there's a
he
point
probably
where it stops
perpetuated
becoming
the
stand-up
culture.
and it starts becoming hate speech, and the
He-
crowd is like going along with it. It's fucking scary.
I can empathize with him because, like, you know, someone who wants to be a performer, sometimes you vibe
Have you
like
heard
you're
some of the
like.
stuff he said?
Well, I just remember it from like being young. Like
Yeah,
Andrew
yeah,
Dice
yeah.
Clay was immensely popular. Like
I remember
it was-
hearing him
he
as a
was-
kid and being like, "Whoa, did he just say that?"
But it was also funny. Like I won't deny that I
Right, right.
didn't laugh. Like, you know, like that's the kind of.
Hickory dock.
Yeah, he had the limelight for a moment, and unfortunately, like I think I would argue that based on what you're saying, I don't know anything about. I didn't
the way they show his progression in his act. It's like he was softer, then he got more hardcore, and then something about the fame and the selling out. Like he was a rock star kind of comedian. His humor.
Yeah, he was one of those
his-
first
his-
ones, too.
His stand up devolves later, like before like he fades out into just like it's less jokes and just like I can't even repeat it, like what he says.
Well,
But
I
he
mean,
got on Arsenio Hall one time, and this was like the nail in the coffin for his career. And he tried to show people the real Andrew Dice Clay. And like, I'm not really this as bad as you think. I don't hate blah blah blah. And anyway, he started crying, and to save himself, he reverted back into his character. And it's so funny. You gotta see the clip. It's so him on Arsenio Hall crying. It's really awkward. He's just trying to be like, I'm not this guy. And it's like even he's done in recent years, like acting and stuff.
it was obvious to me as a
it's-
kid that this is a
He's not
character.
the
Like
same
I
person,
never.
but still.
It's sad that happened to him because to me as a kid it was obvious that he was a character. But yes, his character
But
probably
they
did a
make it
lot of
point
harm.
to say
Yeah.
after shows, his audience members would go out and beat up, like they would find somebody, like it would be that kind of like.
Right,
It
he
was
would
like,
motivate-
it was like a
motivate
fucking
people.
rally, you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
He
Yeah.
basically give people kind of like
His they say they make it. He became so vitriolic with like women are just this and gay men are just this and that and whatever, that it, like his idiot fucking fans who believed in that character so much would go out and they'd see two guys holding hand, whatever, and attack. There you go.
Well,
That
that's what
stuff.
I'm
That
saying.
stuff
Tom
happened.
Hanks fucking squashed that shit into the ground and ended that era with one brilliant stroke and a
One fell
master
swoop of an
performance.
Academy
Yeah.
Award.
Fuck yeah, man. Like Tom Hanks, bro. Like that's what he is still to this day, I think, I would argue, among the pantheon of the most wholesome kind of upstanding people out there. Like I can't think of Tom Hanks and think of him in any other way than like a leader. It's someone I would gladly follow. Like if Tom Hanks said, "Sohail, come with me to Mars," I'd be like, "Yes, Tom Hanks, I'm on my
I would
way."
follow that man down the streets of Philadelphia.
I would exactly. So, thank you, Tom Hanks, for liberating uh, the
Tom,
gays. I
Tom Hanks
appreciate.
saved the world.
He did. He really did. He started it. I feel like he started a good thing. Not like he didn't start it. He started something really good for homosexual and queer people. I would just say queer people in general. Period. That was like an awesome. That was a good move on his part.
Um,
Heath Ledger is another person I would give a lot of credit to. Brokeback Mountain was immense.
oh,
Like that was another.
did you know that famous interview? It's like a press junket in London, I think, or somewhere in the UK. It's
Oh
for
yeah, yeah,
Brokeback
yeah.
Mountain, and some ignorant reporter at one point is like, "Don't you find it sick?" Or he makes some ignorant comment about playing a gay person, and I don't know the exact words he uses. It's been a long time since I've seen it, but Heath Ledger shuts him down in the most polite, just like mature way of like that people shouldn't be hung up about that element of it. You know what I mean? Like basically,
Yeah, what I
this
remember is like
reporter said like the way he worded the question. It was such a fucking. He's an ignorant little bastard.
what I remember Heath Ledger was saying was something along the lines of like, we did this movie because we knew it would show that like, love transcends gender or like preference and things like that, and like two
You know what the
men or
point?
two women could
Exactly.
have like a genuine loving relationship that's productive and like perhaps
The
in
point.
their case like like but like a real romantic
Yeah.
relationship, because people
Yeah.
have always dismissed gay love or queer love, if you will, as something that's like it's always put under the rug. So these are
And
films that
the
have like
point of the movie
brought
was
them
not
out.
about
Yeah.
gender or orientation. It was just about love. That's all it was about. But here's the thing: it transcends all that mainly because Jake Gyllenhaal meets fucking Heath Ledger. How do you think that's gonna go if two of these fucking guys are alone? I'm like, really? I don't care. Like, seriously, Jake Gyllenhaal and Heath Ledger alone in a tent.
Were they the
Transcend.
hottest people on the
And like
planet
you
at
said,
the
that's what
time?
I'm saying. It's like
Is that
if you have two extremely attractive people alone together a lot,
it's gonna happen? You think?
sometimes the wind could sail different ways. You never know.
The
The wind could
wind,
blow different ways. I mean,
the wind could
and the
sail.
ship could sail
dude.
in a different direction. I mean, like, you never know.
Right.
But
Yeah.
that's the, but that really
Right.
it really is the point of the movie. It's like it, it's it's just about connection and love and frolicking around
On on
naked.
on that note, you guys were not able to disprove that Star Trek Lower Decks season 3 episode 1 Grounded is the best episode of Star
I
Trek
don't
Lower
want to
Decks
disprove it.
so far.
Wedge Dudge or Wedge Douche is
Nope,
the best
this
one.
one. And so on that note, I must say goodnight because I
Oh man,
am
what
trying to
time
do a
is it?
Lower Deck stream tomorrow morning, but I don't know if it's gonna
Good luck
happen.
with that, sir.
Starfleet Boys totally off whack right now. My schedule's thrown off, so we'll see what happens.
We got Star
tomorrow.
Trek Day coming up September 8th, by the way, which
September
is
8th,
also
yeah.
Disney Plus Day, which is the release of
Star Trek
Thor,
Day.
Love and Thunder on Disney Plus, plus the live
Do you
action
guys-
version of Disney's Pinocchio with Tom Hanks as Geppetto. It all comes full circle.
Do you guys think we're going to get a trailer for Picard on Star Trek Day, or
I
Jean-Luc
hope so.
Picard?
That would be awesome.
They'd better, you know why? because Terry
Yeah.
Metalis in a podcast that's like weeks old now
Yeah, I
said
heard that.
they're pretty much done. I mean,
They're
technically they
they're
could
done.
release this thing with no trouble in November or December.
They're
Metalis
not going to do that.
Metalis wishes he has no control. He says it's above his pay grade. He wishes he could give it to the world for the holiday. But
I really hope.
the
I
most
wish for
likely
that
premiere
too.
date is January or February, as originally
No,
predicted
let's start
by
it.
Brent Spiner himself.
Oh no, come on. When January? When?
2023, like the beginning of
It's
the
going to be, yeah, it's going to be 2023. Yeah.
I'm gonna celebrate
is
Star
done,
Trek
like,
Picard all
it-
throughout the month of January and February. I'm just letting you guys know that right
It
now.
is completely filmed. Most of the visual effects, if not all, are probably done at this point. The music is at the time of the podcast, which is like weeks old. He says they're doing the score. We've already seen clips of the beautiful score, the little pieces of the score that they're releasing on Twitter. Is like, this sounds promising. It sounds like an actual movie orchestra.
I'm very pleased
Sounds
with
promising.
everything that I've seen. Like today I saw like there's just like a lot of wonders, but in general like did we already talk about the wild crazy Star Trek Spock CGI thing that
What is that?
so I think it has something
¿De
to
qué
do
tú
with
hablas, chico?
you guys didn't see the video like Fathery and like someone else retweeted
I saw the
it.
video
I
of the
retweeted
CGI
it.
Spock at the end, but what is that? What's the point of it?
I think it's related to the Roddenberry archive or the Roddenberry like there's like a project that's going on. It's like a interesting like kind of like interactive thing, and the way that it's supposed to work is that like you're supposed to be able to visit any enterprise that's ever so like from NX to whatever the future enterprises are in a virtual reality way, and you could go to like specific points in the enterprise's like journey. So like you go to episodes, for example, maybe like what you do is you watch from a different perspective, like the Tholian
That
web, like,
sounds incredibly ambitious, like to the point
That's
it's
cool.
fantasy.
and then you can zoom out, so to speak, and see cameras and lights, and they put it all together from actual footage and stuff like that, and fabricate like this kind of like multi-dimensional universe. And I know you say it
Not for
sounds
every
impossible.
not for every single episode, though. I mean, for certain
No, well,
chunks.
you
know what I mean?
start with yeah, sure. You start with like a few like of the greats, right?
Un
But
chonqui,
yeah,
un chonquito there.
I think it's gonna be. I would personally spend all my time inside of that. Like, that's all I would do with my time that I have. You
I
guys would have to
personally
like
believe
have an
that
intervention.
The life cycle of intelligent life forms ends with us creating holodecks, and then each of us escaping into a holodeck and creating the next universe. So the multiverses are all creations of people in holodecks, and then those universes create their own holodecks, which create new universes.
But what if,
Ruben is high
what
as
if the
fuck.
first holodeck breaks down? Everything falls apart.
Ruben is so high right now. Ruben is so. Wow. Look, has he ever did a dance like that on your show? Has that ever happened before?
Well, we've almost gone 4 hours. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
I'm so glad I didn't take over the late night thing. I'm so glad it wasn't me.
Podcast delirious.
Are you
We should
actually
do a watch
doing an
party.
after dark today? I guess. Or
Yes,
tomorrow?
so I'm going to bed now.
After dark. Welcome to
and,
After Dark.
I think there's going to be something happening tomorrow, but I'm not sure what it is at this point.
Oh, there's something happening.
We talked about like
here.
100 different things.
What it
We
is
did, we talked
ain't
about-
exactly
We
clear.
talked a lot. We talked a lot.
I might just
about a lot of
promote this as After Dark tomorrow and cheat. Is that okay with you, PJ? Can I use this as like a After Dark cheat?
And replay
Yes,
this.
and tweet like cancel PJ because he doesn't want female Bond.
Yes, can I do
Oh,
that?
shit.
Okay,
That's,
you're,
that's
you-
where, that's
you're
where I
giving
took
me
away most from
permission.
this episode.
folks, you heard it here. I have permission. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it.
No, Jesus, don't do that.
Oh, don't
Okay,
tell him
fine.
that.
I was so ready.
I
I
don't
was-
want to be named by the woke crowd. No, I'm joking.
Wow.
The wokeness. No,
Wake up, PJ.
You woke
Wake
as
up.
fuck.
Wow.
I
That was
like
good
I
too.
like when people are awake, but not necessarily woke. No, I'm joking. I'm
PJ
talking
hates
out
all
of my
people.
hat. I'm talking out of my
PJ
hat.
hates all people,
I hate myself
Yeah.
too.
including himself.
I don't discriminate. I hate
Yeah.
everyone equally.
What what it boils down to is Kylo Ren is saying like, progress isn't happening fast enough, so you got to kill any obstacle that's there, and
That's a
everyone else.
great way to put the kind of like we won't even have a shred of the old world in our sentences, in our books and conversations, in our TV shows. It all must be the new world from here on out.
And that's what those movements are. They're always called like the New World Order or whatever or whatnot. That's always an idea or a meme that's been present for like probably for as
A
long as
meme.
like a meme. But I would say that the more powerful meme is the one that Luke is preaching in those films, which is that like no one's significant enough to like own the experience completely. Everyone's experience is somehow valid, and the Force doesn't belong to the Jedi or the Sith. It
Well,
actually belongs to no one.
that reminds me of the movie Samaritan with Sylvester Stallone. Because when you find out that he's Nemesis, the kid's like he feels betrayed. He's like, "You were the bad guy the whole time," and Sylvester Stallone looks at him and he tells him straight. He's like, "Listen, kid," and he points to like the kid's heart. He's like, "There's good and there's bad in everybody."
I think it's great that Rey is the first chaotic neutral
I
character.
love your Stallone, bro.
I think it's great that
If I
Rey is
could
the first.
change,
I think it's great that Rey is the first chaotic neutral character of prominence in Star Wars. Because up until now we've had either lawful good or what would the evil equivalent be? Is lawful evil?
you're talking
No.
about
No,
Ray from
chaotic
Star
Chaotic
Wars?
evil, yeah.
No,
No,
What's
I would
that?
say Sith are more chaotic good or lawful evil.
Yeah. So, but they're extremes.
Sith aren't evil. Only the
Rey's
Sith,
the
only the
first-
Sith we've seen are evil, but the Sith aren't evil.
Rey is the actual outcome of the divergence and the balance, like the,
The
prophecy.
true way is the gray.
Rey is the post.
in many ways, you could say she was the death of the franchise. No,
I would like to see Ahsoka involved with Rey's story somehow.
Yeah.
I think that Rey would be interesting to. I think that Ahsoka's character is a bridge character that's wonderful. That goes from like this kind of like classic Star Wars to like a sort of Star Wars for the next generation. And so if Ahsoka had designs against the Emperor and they included Rey, that would be phenomenal. I'd be like so down for that. Like,
speaking of
Like-
Ahsoka, Rosario Dawson, who was in
Yeah.
Clerks 2,
Mm-hmm.
she's going to be in Clerks 3. But
Yep.
Mark Bernardin blurted out a huge spoiler for Clerks 3, and Kevin Smith was like, what is it? And I think they erased it from the live stream, so like the part's not there anymore. But I'm like, dude, he revealed like a major.
Oh, did you
thing-
hear it?
He revealed a major thing about her character in Clerks 3.
Oh,
I
don't
was
tell
like,
me. Don't tell
Oh
me.
no! Don't tell me that. I mean, I didn't want
Don't
to
tell
know.
me that. I
didn't
don't
wanna
want to.
know
I
that.
don't want to know that.
I didn't want to know that she gets superpowers.
Oh, thank you.
No, but he did blurt out something, and he's like, me and my wife watched it because they did a screening, and I didn't know such and such about Rosario Dawson's character. I was like, but dude, that's a major spoiler. Why? And then Kevin Smith was like, oh, Mark, no wonder you worked on Picard season 2. He didn't really have much of a say. I don't know what he was
Oh,
doing.
God.
I don't
don't know what he was
understand.
doing
I don't
during
understand
that
what's
season.
funny. Anyways, I have to go.
Because you don't want to think about Picard season 2. That's what.
Don't worry, season 3 will be great. All right.
I hope
Thank you for having me on, PJ.
Good night, everybody. And
Oh, we're all leaving? Oh, good night.
Yeah.
Oh,
Good night.
David.
yeah, it's pretty late.
Good night.
And it's 3:47.
guys.
See ya. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.